Hello, hello, hello. Can you guys hear us?
I heard you.
Oh,
It
Yay.
worked.
There we go.
Woohoo!
Finally got the right one. Alright, let me just up your volumes a little bit. I pulled that magic off wonderfully. The hearing is real.
Success.
So, alright. Without further ado, let's get started. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen of Hitbox and YouTube. SuperVin47 here, introducing yet another episode of the Game Dev Podcast with our special guest, this CareLevelZero. Your Twitter name confuses me.
The real
CareLevelZero
CLZ.
was taken. It's a dead account and I can't get it.
Damn.
It sucks.
Yes, everyone, welcome CareLevelZero, everyone.
Hello, everybody.
And as always, returning my co-host Eniko.
Hello, Poppet.
Oh Christ!
I'm gonna do the entire podcast in pirate.
Oh,
I can't actually do the entire. I do a bad pirate.
Oh, parlay. Parlay.
put the entire podcast in Smeagol then, yes.
Oh my god,
No way!
that's a good one.
That's fucking...
Smeagol okay for the podcast? He would like to talk.
It sounds... Oh my god, that's amazing.
I can't do Gollum, though. I can only do Smeagol.
Yes. Dude, that's awesome. Holy shit.
My wife fucking hates it.
This is really making me want to do my Darth Vader.
Bring it.
Do it.
Luke, I am your father.
It's impossible! No!
Okay, game development. We do
Right.
occasionally talk about game development.
But we should all get into voice acting, though.
Yeah.
Holy shit. Okay, alright. What have you guys been up to?
Oh, well, should I introduce myself then?
Yes.
Guess first.
Hello, everyone. I am CareLevelZero. That's where I'm known most places. I'm also known as James Henley. Long-time game developer, I guess nearly 11 years now. Did the math earlier, and it's been longer than I thought it has.
Damn.
I spent eight and a half of those at Bioware, EA, and Activision. And the last, I guess a year and a half to 2 years on the independent circuit instead, working on Steam Bandits Outpost with a small California-based group known as Iocaine Studios.
We actually got a legit AAA developer. Well, former AAA developer.
Former AAA. Trying to stay indie. I like indie. Indie's
Okay.
good. Freedom's good.
Wait, what's the name of the Iocaine Studios?
Iocaine Studios.
Okay. Oh, you guys have good SEO. First one that showed up.
Excellent.
All right, let's wait. Let's see if we can't pull that up on the old screen.
You can also talk about your streaming and stuff.
Yeah.
'Cause that's very interesting, I think.
That's not quite the same as game dev, but it all ties back, I guess, right? I'm also I guess I'm actually a full-time streamer. Holy shit.
Holy
Yeah,
shit! dude.
pretty much.
I never
Did you
really
make
thought about
partner
it.
yet?
No, haven't made partner with Twitch. I did just get sponsored by Glom Tom, though, which is pretty awesome. They
Nice.
seem like really cool people. And yeah, I guess I'm actually full-time. I'm 4 hours a day, 5 to 6 days a week, 4 to 8 p.m. Central. Doing all the niche games that people might have loved if they ever actually played them or heard of them.
Yeah, you do like some obscure stuff.
Everyone else's League of Legends and World of Warcraft and all the big titles covered. They don't need me on that.
And Hearthstone.
That's
Yeah.
true. Yes, there's a lot of Hearthstone.
Yes, there is. But
Have you ever considered, like, there's this cool indie game, not sure you've heard of it. It's called Minecraft. Have you considered streaming that? I think it could be big.
I have been asked if I would stream in the past, and I played a ton of it when it came out with my Friday night co-host, actually, the Insane Cat. And he wants to go back to it at some point, so it might make an appearance on the late night drunken Friday casts.
Drunk Minecraft.
I can't catch those. Too late for me.
Not late enough for me.
Yeah, we start really, really late. And apparently we end really late. It was nearly 4 a.m. this morning when we called off.
Holy crap, dude.
Yeah, I think it's mostly because we ran out of alcohol.
How do you even find time for game dev anymore?
I don't sleep.
Ever.
Oh, yeah, okay, that explains why your wife always brings you so much coffee.
Yes, pretty much. That, and really I don't game off stream much anymore. It's my game time is now stream time. So that's when I find to play games.
Damn, dude.
At least, well, I was going to say at least you game, but I have been playing a game. It's most shocking, I know. It's not really a game. I mean, it's an MMO, so.
It's not really a game, Tim. I spent
Wow!
I spent 5 years on the Old Republic. Please don't tell me they're not games.
Oh my
Ouch.
5 years on the development team.
Oh, ouch.
Can you
God,
talk about any of the experiences that you had while you were like at BioWare?
Yeah, there's a reasonable amount I think I can talk about within the safety of good professionalism. It's been incredibly interesting to work in the AAAs. It's a lot of ups and downs. And what I found is you work with a lot of incredibly talented people, and you work for a lot of people you're not really sure what they're doing, or if they know what they're doing, or why they're doing anything they're doing. It gets a little bit worrisome at times. But it's are you familiar with the Peter Principle?
No, what is that?
Everyone keeps getting promoted until they find a place where they are no longer talented enough.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Everyone gets promoted to their point of incompetence, and then you get left there to rot. And I think that happens, unfortunately, to a lot of people in the AAA industry. You get really, really good designers who get bumped up to management who maybe aren't really fit for management, but were incredibly good content creators. But now they're stuck in management. And you've basically just given yourself a subpar manager and cost yourself one of your best assets at the same time. Sadly, it happens a lot.
I feel like that might be due to because like at their current pay level they can't get enough of a raise to pay for it, or like something in the pencil pushing paperwork, number crunching, yada yada, says that they have to be at a higher level or something like that.
There can be a bit of that, yeah. There's also the oddly enough, there is actually a bit of a drive in some publishers that people continue to move up, and eventually you wind up with people who have nowhere up to go unless they're going up into management. At which point they don't have anything that those people can technically be promoted to anymore and still do the job they're doing. So you're either now stuck there permanently, or you become a manager.
Yep. Oh, man.
A fate literally worse than death.
Wait, that's the part where you become a manager, right?
Yeah. Except it pays better, I suppose, than death.
It does, and some people are really well suited to it. I've had a couple of incredibly good leads, like really, really talented people who were good at their jobs, who understood how to get other people to do their jobs more effectively and how to share knowledge. But I've also worked with some people who should have stayed in creation as opposed to managing creators.
I mean, like, the vast majority of it is gonna be like, if you're taking engineers and forcing them into management roles that they aren't trained for, like, sometimes you get a really good hit. You know, sometimes you're gonna have people who will rise up to the circumstances and be like, okay, yes, I'm going to be a manager. That is who I am now. But sometimes it's not going to go so well because you're taking people out of their depth and saying, like, this is your position now.
Yeah.
And it's like, I don't know.
Oh, Zorix asked why I didn't become a manager. Because I'm a content creator. I live to be knee deep in the game. That's where I need to be.
I think. Yeah. What's up?
So like when you were working on the Old Republic, What were some of the systems that you worked on?
Oh man, after 5 years on that project, I spent a lot of it on the world build team. So with people actually laying out the all the level work for the planets before the artists came and actually made it look pretty. We made everything flow. They made everything, not look terrible. Designer art is not pretty. But I think at release, I'd worked on nearly at least part of every single planet in the game, except for one.
Wow.
And as far as the class quest went, I probably at some point had my hands in prototyping or work on most of the class quests in the game. Mm-hmm. And granted, they went through a lot of people. We switched teams around. Some people ended up owning different planets, so a lot of the quests were touched by a lot of people.
So you were doing like quest coding and stuff?
Yeah, quest layout, level layout. Towards the end of the project, I got moved to the live team for a while because our customer support people in Ireland didn't have like all the tools they needed yet. So myself and usually one other designer, they'd bring someone in for a couple of months and then move them back out, and I just kind of stayed in permanently. We would find solutions for fixing people during the alphas and betas when they broke in ways that customer support couldn't actually fix. So
That
I ran
sounds
metrics
like
for
fun.
all of the problems that came up to find out where the major issues were in our game, the places that broke the most frequently. And the Ireland guys were great. They were really, really cool people to work with. But because of the time zone difference and the fact that they're operating 24 hours a day and we're in the office for 8 hours, I would basically log in from home and then provide support until about 2 a.m. just while I was working on the couch and other stuff.
Jeez.
Not as bad as it sounds. It's just if problems came up, I was there to be asked at least.
Okay. Sounds good.
I actually don't remember a whole lot about the Old Republic. I did play it.
Oh no.
I'm trying really hard to be diplomatic. I played it for a
I just
couple
realized you found the
months.
video.
Yep.
That video was done by Blur.
There's a
They are an
video?
amazing studio for that stuff.
Why can I not see the video?
I thought at first an ad was playing.
Technically it is, isn't it? It's a trailer. So it sort of is an ad, but
And it's a good one.
damn straight.
Ooh.
When
Yeah, the cutscenes were very nice.
when this first came out, when this particular trailer first came out and I saw it, I was like, holy shit. This is amazing. And,
Yeah.
And
Blur nailed it.
and then midterms and finals happened and I never actually got into the Old Republic. because I was an undergrad when this came out, and my friends and I were all like, yes, we have to, and then suddenly engineering, biology, and all the other crap got in the way. It's like, oh, damn it.
Life getting in the way of games. Where
Yes.
will it end?
Damn it, life. Why can't we just game?
My game development gets in the way of games. It's like I don't play games. Are you kidding? I just make them.
Oh, I think one of the last bits of content I did, though, that I can very directly point out as mine is in the Karaga's Palace raid, the G4B3 Heavy Fabricator was my boss. That was my baby, and I loved it.
Oh, okay.
Basically,
You mind typing that in chat so that I can pull up a video on it, on the boss fight?
Sure.
Because I know somewhere, I know some of you crazy nerds out there already made a freaking, boss fight how-to.
Oh god, yeah, there's a couple of really good ones out there for this boss.
So, alright, as soon as this video is done, because it's just freaking amazing, I'm going to pull up that boss fight and we can watch Zero's work in action.
And his name is lead speak for Gabe. I named him after Gabe from Penny Arcade. And then I snuck in the the TY-K0 protocol droid in the last bit of content I did.
Tycho,
Oh,
Gabe and
So I got them
Tycho.
both in.
Holy crap,
Nice.
that's clever.
And he's actually in there as a protocol droid examining artifacts because of the one comic he put out.
Nice.
Interesting factoid, the engine that the Old Republic used was actually an engine made for a different MMO, which was called Hero's Journey?
Something like that. That was their kind of way to show it off. It's called the
Well-
Hero Engine, and it was.
Oh yeah, the hero went. Yeah, and it was going to be Hero's Journey. But I think what happened was that company used to make. Well, they still run like a MUD, like a text. For those of you who aren't like 500 years old, back when we didn't have graphics, we had MMOs, and they were called multi-user dungeons or MUDs,
Yep.
and it was all text. And I never got into them because my brain doesn't navigate in text. But yeah, they run Dragon something MUD, and it's like a subscription fee MUD, and it still runs in 2015, I think.
Wow.
It's amazing. And then they started on Hero's Journey because they were like, we're going to do an MMO now. And then it turns out that the engine was a lot more attractive than the actual game, which never came out.
Yeah, they sold the. I can't remember if they sold the engine off or if the company itself got sold. But one way or the other, I think either the engine or the company got sold to a Russian group.
Oh,
Names I
really?
can't remember right now.
Huh.
It was not. It was an interesting engine. It offered you the ability to have multiple people in one area working with the hype maps at the same time.
Yeah, I
So,
remember
since we had
seeing
a
a demo.
big- Yeah, we had a big world design team, so we'd have 5-6 people who were working on the planet currently, subdivided the whole thing up, and you'd see someone like raising mountains in the background, and someone's just like building a river nearby along your borders. And every so often, you'd just go over and you'd find where people had left their avatar, and you would troll them by just dropping them in a pit.
See, all of that sounds way more interesting to me than playing the actual resulting MMO because I am so burned out on MMOs.
Entirely possible.
And I say that despite having just played like Final Fantasy XIV like an hour ago.
Unfortunately, as awful or as awesome as the engine was for that, it was awful for a lot of other things. It was not. It can't handle a big game like that. It really couldn't. We had to gut and replace a lot of it. Like their old code for deletion. Instead of deleting an object and saying, "Okay, I'm being deleted. Do I have any parents and do I have any children?" It would go to every other object that was considered to be in the same room as it. And it
Oh
would
my
say,
god.
Are you
Are you my child? Are
serious?
you my child? Are you my child? Are you my child? We had a prefab house with 26 parts that when you deleted it, you went for lunch. It was not
Wow.
going to be
That
responsible again
sounds
until
like
you
it's
got
like-
back.
How did they license
That
this
sounds
engine to Bioware
awful.
without Bioware finding out that it had this huge performance problem?
I guess they didn't delete anything big.
I guess so. Oh, the engineer who found out that that was a problem must have been so mad. Or was it you?
No, it wasn't me. I don't know
Okay.
who found that. But I mean, we all found that it was a problem. So we had a graveyard area as we worked, and then when someone was going to go to lunch, they just select everything in the graveyard area, hit delete, and leave,
Oh my god.
and then
That's-
come back after lunch and hope that it's operational.
See, this is the thing that, like, gamers and general users of technology don't really seem to understand all that well. It's basically a miracle that anything works ever.
It's magic.
It's building a plane in flight.
It's like, shit, we forgot the wings and we're like 5 miles up in the air.
Yeah.
So, oh yeah, you need fuel, don't you?
Yeah, I think we forgot a few parts. Seats,
Well,
fuselage.
we didn't think we need more
Okay.
than a few cans of fuel, but it turns out that you need like several metric tons.
You don't need to fly. You just need to fall with style. That's okay.
Wow, falling with style probably is a pretty good description for game development.
Yeah, and just
It's,
technology
you
in
never
general.
build amazing games because of your tools. I swear to God, you build amazing games in spite of the tools. There's no other way to describe it. It's like, really? None of this works. You know what? Whatever. I'll find a way to make it go.
You're like, fuck it.
This is why I made my own framework, and then people are like, why are you rolling your own? You're wrong. And I'm like, no, your mum.
At least if
I
something
am-
is wrong in yours, you know where to look.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I have a story, right, about Project Drake.
Okay.
So
Story time.
I did a lot of research into physics engines. I didn't really need physics because it's a 2D game, but nowadays physics libraries are how you get collision. And I kind of wanted collision because falling through the floor into the infinite abyss is kind of a drag. Okay, so I did all of this research and I was like, okay, I can't use box 2D because it's 2D, and I can't use bullet physics because reasons I can't even remember. And I came across this really good physics library, or at least it seemed really good. And well, the first problem was, so you have 32-bit floating points, which floating point is, for those of you who don't know, is the type that you use to have numbers that have a number past the decimal point. And the problem with Project Drake was that the world was so big that at the far corner of the map, you would get jitter if you used the 32-bit floats. So I had to use the 64-bit floats, except the library, which was coded in C#, wasn't coded for 64-bit floats. So I spent like an entire day changing the word float to double everywhere in the engine. So that was fun.
Oh.
So I got that fixed, and then it worked, and it was pretty good to work with, except like a week later I find out that for some reason when you're going up cliffs, maybe because my terrain wasn't tessellated enough, like it was not fine-grained enough in terms of detail, that you could sometimes slide off a mountain, but sometimes you could also just walk up it. Might have also been a problem with, because it was a isometric 2D game, might have been a problem that the slope wasn't actually steep enough for the physics library. Anyway.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you told me the story in private before. Oh my god.
Yeah, it's a 2D game, so you actually want mountains to be less steep than you would actually expect them in proper 3D, because otherwise it looks wrong even though it's actually correct. If that makes sense. Yeah. So I spent weeks on trying to fix that physics engine, and it performed like a normal physics engine, except like it performed a lot less well than I'd expected because I didn't need all this physics. I couldn't rotate something because it's a 2D game, so all of that processing is wasted. I also couldn't get the physics to work right at the edges of the map where it wrapped around itself, because most physics libraries don't solve for that edge case. Literally edge case. The corner case was a lot worse even then, because I needed to like mirror everything 4 times and add constraints and all this stuff. And at some point I was just like, fuck it, I'll do it myself. And I wrote a collider in like a week, and I hooked it into the game in like a day, and then it worked perfectly to spec. And it solved, because I designed for it from the ground up, it solved the wraparound problem perfectly. And this is why I roll my own tech. So people who tell me that I am wrong for rolling my own tech, fuck off.
Now, Eniko and Lena actually got way in depth into this in the last podcast, because you guys were explaining the difference between like what framework and
engine, framework, and library.
Yes.
Which most people don't understand, apparently.
I don't understand it, man. You guys could be talking arcane mysteries for all I know. But
most code starts to sound like that eventually.
Yeah.
Ever program an IRC bot? That is the arcanest of bizarre rituals.
Oh, IRC. I have programmed an IRC client.
I'm not sure I made sense of it by the time I finished.
Wow. But yeah, I won't go into the whole engine. You shouldn't write your own engine rant again, because I'll just do that on my YouTube channel, youtube.com/SharkHugsEniko.
You can post a link. Like, Eniko is a mod. She can post clickable links. You guys can also write links in chat as well, but it's not going to be clickable. That's all.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah. See, you can click on that. Any of the stuff that you other guys write, nothing.
I have the power, like He-Man. Was it He-Man or was it the other ones, the Thundercats?
I think it's He-Man.
I have the power with He-Man. I'm pretty sure.
It's He-Man. Because Thundercats is like thunder. Yes.
People are like, what are they even talking about? It's cartoons for really old people.
Hey! Hey!
Oh, we've reached that point in life.
Yep. I
That's
turn
just how it is.
32 next Tuesday, and
Oh,
please
next
just
Tuesday?
make sure I die before then.
Wow. Then I should already be dead.
Oh, Christ. I am turning, what, 25 in a couple weeks?
You shut up.
But he's an old man on the inside.
I already have, like, so much white hair, dude.
Oh, my goatee started growing in gray.
Ooh.
I'm trying to figure out if it's just stress or what. It's reached that point.
Yes. Yes. Thankfully, our profile pics are very much non-indicative of what we actually look like.
What do you mean? I totally have a flower growing out of my head.
I do wear the goggles sometimes on cast.
You do.
Not as much lately. Those things are heavy.
Are they, what, welding goggles, or...?
Nah, they're just totally a costume piece. But they're a costume piece with no padding, which means they're the most uncomfortable thing imaginable.
Ouch. Ouch, man. Because I know one streamer. Oh, I can't remember his name right now, but I saw him wearing actual welding goggles. I was like, holy shit, dude. First of all,
if I ever go streaming and with face cam, I'm just gonna get one of those welding face plates.
Nice.
That's gonna be my thing.
and instead of having like an actual acetylene torch, just have like a small lighter or something.
Just a fake torch on my cell phone.
Should we hit that question that Zilrax asked earlier?
Yes. Zilrex asked, what is the emotional difference between AAA and indie? Like, do you feel, do you feel different between having a small part on a big AAA release or putting the finishing touches on your own baby?
Man, I have not shipped an indie game yet. I really enjoy working on the one that I'm on, and it's in early access, but that's not the same thing as done, as anyone who's shipped a game knows. The last 10% of the game is about 90% of the work. It's a hell of a feeling, though, shipping a AAA, getting to see just all of the advertisement that goes out for it and all the places that are putting posters and crap up for it. It's bizarre. Though at the same time, the very first one I shipped was Jade Empire. And when we were in like deep crunch.
I just remembered that Finn did like an entire Jade Empire thing, didn't you?
Yes, it's one of my favorite games.
It was the first game I ever shipped. And we were just like way deep in crunch, and we had the last few days where like only a handful of people were in making any changes because everything was in lockdown. And then it's done, and you have to just stop dead, and you go from 90 to nothing.
Dude.
And for the next week, while it's going through certification and everything, there's nothing for you to do, and you're sitting there just like clawing at your desk and looking for anything to do. I'm lucky. The guy in the office across from me had an arcade set up with the most recent Tekken title at the time, so I would just wander in there and be like, "What's up, guys? All right, I'll watch you break some face. It's cool. I got nothing else to do."
Nice.
It was just so weird.
So what? There's no quote unquote cooldown period. You just go from like hardcore to then nothing.
Yeah, it winds down a little bit more for some people because depending on what your role is on the project. But I was one of the people who was actually doing last bits of polish in lockdown. So since we only had like the 3 days left to do that, we worked a ton over those 3 days, and then that was it. Lockdown was fully complete, and there was nothing for me to do.
That's basically how every release of indie games goes for me. I'm like always, I give myself deadlines and I'm always working right up till the deadline, and then you put it out there, and then I can kind of relate to the feeling like where you're just sitting there waiting, except with indie, it's more like you release your game and then nothing happens. Like at first, just nothing happens. And then if you're very lucky, eventually something happens.
In the case of an indie game, you also have to pay a lot more attention to, well, PC games in general, you have to pay a lot more attention to what's going wrong that you can possibly patch. I mean, Jade Empire was console game, so when it was done, that was it.
Yeah, that was it.
There's nothing we can do. If there's anything wrong in it that you didn't do in the last 3 days, too bad. Suck it up. And there was something. There was something that went wrong. It was, so we had a way of just rapidly loading into the game and bypassing character creation.
Uh-oh.
And the event that you did that, you were granted a temp character. It used the Woo the Lotus Blossom model. The character's name was Zippy the Wonder Slug. They had they had the style that we internally called GIMP, because it was like not really a martial arts style. It was the one you put on things that were just popcorn you're supposed to beat to death easily.
Uh-huh.
And had terrible, terrible stats.
Okay.
And every so often, when returning from a transformation style, something somewhere went so horribly wrong that the player did not actually get their character back. They came back as Zippy the Wonder Slug.
Oh my god.
I wish you guys left that in.
It was not exactly a common error, and I can't find reference to it anymore, but I know on the old original Bioware boards I saw it crop up because someone said, "What happened to my character and why the hell am I called Zippy the Wonder Slug?" And my jaw just dropped. No. There's no way.
He's back.
Panic mode.
He's back.
And there's nothing we can do about it.
That's right, because there was no online updating back then.
Yep.
Once it's released on CD, it's released.
That's it.
Ain't no patching that, man.
Exactly.
Zippy the Wonder Slug. Oh my god, I wish I got that bug.
I have no idea what would even trigger it. It's just, it would go and attempt to return you to your original character, and if it couldn't find your character, then it defaulted to Zippy.
Christ.
Was it permanent? Or was it just temporary? Like if you relog,
I'm not
fixes
actually sure what would happen if you went into a transformation style and out again. But I believe if you just like saved and quit, you were still Zippy.
Oh, shit.
That was you.
Whoa.
I think one of the main reasons I never got that bug was because I tended to avoid transformation styles. Because the way that the screen would just like brighten up and go all fuzzy, it just hurt my eyes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. But to go through that transition screen and then come back as Zippy the Wonder Slug, I would have lost my shit. I've been like, what the fuck is this? This is magic.
Best unintentional Easter egg.
Yes, seriously. You guys heard it here.
Weird bugs like that I like the best.
Hashtag
I really
search
like
for Zippy.
speedrunners because they do all those glitch exploits, wrong warps and stuff. I love that shit. I want to make a game that like specifically supports like fake wrong
The actual
warp
gameplay
glitches.
is meta breaking.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that would be so cool.
Like if you hop against this wall enough times, you actually pass right through it.
I may actually wind up doing that in my secret July project eventually, but not in July, like maybe July 2018 or something.
Then the question is, what do the speedrunners do?
What do you mean?
You just broke their minds.
What did the actual speedrunners do? Did they look for real glitches
Real
as opposed to meta glitches?
You can't. You could, but it's really hard to do stuff like that in like JavaScript or C#. Like that kind of stuff really needs like memory pointer errors to really work. I think usually.
But if anyone can find like the meta glitch in your game, it would be the speedrunning community.
Oh god.
Probably, yeah.
Like-
I would be counting on it. Or those ARG people. Like the
Oh,
ones when
wow.
there's like viral marketing going on and they figure it out and you replicate the steps and even that's too hard.
Oh, I
Even
mean,
though
when
you have a-
they ran the I Love Bees ARG. Are
Wait, what
I
is
don't know about
what is
that.
this?
you familiar with that one?
No.
That
No, me
was
neither.
the oh wow, that was the viral marketing that they did prior to was it Halo 2 or 3? I think it was Halo 2. The whole thing was like ilovebees.com. And it was this whole huge like early viral marketing thing. Really, really crazy stuff.
I've never heard of that. The only one I really distinctly remember is the one for Dog Days Ahead. I don't know if that's the actual game name.
Do you guys have links to any media or something?
And I wonder, let me take a quick look here.
Is it spelled ARG or?
Yeah, ARG. It's an alternate reality game.
Okay.
I always thought it was augmented reality gaming.
Oh, is it? I thought it alternate.
If it's a media thing, it might be augmented because then you're
Could
like,
be either.
it's like, here, download this app, look at your face, see all these things on your. It's like what Walking Dead did.
Oh, well, apparently ilovebees.com now actually connects to the people who were behind it directly, 42 Entertainment.
So the one I was talking about, I just linked it in chat. That's like the game, but they also they did this weird viral thing where there was some domain and you had to like hunt the pixel and then solve riddles and puzzles and shit. It was very interesting.
Yeah, that sounds like augmented reality.
It's kind of like what game was that did that recently? Wasn't that the Silent Hill thing or something?
Well, you mean PT? Because PT did require like some input via microphone and some
Yes.
stuff
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Stuff like that. I find that very interesting that people can solve stuff like that. Like, I wouldn't have the time.
Yeah, it's one of those things, you crowdsource things, and it's just amazing what people can work through when they actually start just working together.
Yeah, I think it's really impressive.
Okay.
Is it time for me to introduce myself yet?
Yes, I was just about to get to that part. It's like, yes, okay, Eniko, what have you been working on?
I have not really been working on Mythboss, but I did get it through Greenlight, so that's something.
Yay!
Yay! Woo!
Congratulations again.
Funny story there.
Here we go.
I wasn't even in the top 100. Which is interesting because the biggest stat that Greenlight gives you is like percentage towards the top 100. It even gives you like this line graph that shows you how everyone else who is in the top 100 did relative to where you are in the timeline.
Wow, I thought that was the whole point of Greenlight, was you had to be in the top 100 to get Greenlight.
That's what I thought too. But apparently I don't know what the hell Valve is doing. At some point someone I know got greenlit at 1,500 yes votes, and that was not in the top 100. And then I approached 1,500 greenlight votes, and someone with 1,100 votes got greenlit, which is also not in the top 100. And I was like 90% towards the top 100 when I got greenlit. That's not even the funny story though. So your greenlit is like the first couple of days. You really want to be ready when you go on greenlight, because that first influx of voters is the most you're ever gonna get usually. And if your trailer or your screenshots or your blurbs, like text and stuff, if it's not all up to snuff to convert those Steam users into yes votes, then you're never going to get those back. And if you get a false start where you get like 80% no votes, that's really bad because it's really hard to get up to the point where you get greenlit.
Ouch.
Yeah. But even then, after that, like, mid-boss was doing fairly well. I was pretty much on par with the number 100 games all the time. But then again, those number 100 games took, like, months and months to get there. So that wasn't so good. And at some point, like, it just dies, and it's like 1 to 3 votes a day. That's really disheartening. Yeah. So I knew a guy who does marketing to help indies through Greenlight, and that takes like several $100 a month usually to get his help. And it's not the keys for votes thing, so it's not that. It's just like a marketing promo thing. And the guy I know managed to get me in with this guy so I could get that for free, that help. So I get up on Thursday morning, and I'd been in contact with this guy, and the next day I was planning to send like banners to go vote on mid-boss and stuff to him so he could start the campaign. And I look in my inbox and it's like, congratulations, you've been greenlit.
He works really fast.
Yeah. And my tweet was, oh, okay then. That was my greenlit tweet. It wasn't like, yay! It was like, oh.
I remember seeing that.
Yeah, I wondered what people would think of that, but that was literally just legit my reaction. It's like, okay, this makes no fucking sense. And I was just gonna do this thing, and now I don't have to, and my friend wasted his time, and what the fuck is going on at Valve? I think what happens is, right, it just depends if some Valve employee gets bored on their lunch break, and they go look through Greenlight games, and then they see a game that, like, according to their stats is slated to be in the top 100 eventually. And if they find it interesting, they can just push the button to get it through. Maybe. I don't know.
That's so arbitrary. That's heartbreakingly arbitrary.
Yeah, it's like Greenlight, the entire stats page is at this point just...
I believe they're moving away from Greenlight as it currently is, towards... Oh man, it was supposed to be something more community-based as opposed to Valve having to give the okay. I'm trying to remember, but it was stuff I talked to people about at Steam Dev Days in January of last year. So.
Wait, you said more community-oriented? I thought that was what Greenlight was supposed to be.
It is to a point, but it's not quite working the way they want.
Okay, so Eniko, quick question about Greenlight.
Yeah.
Does it cost anything? Just to confirm, does it cost anything to get onto Greenlight?
Yeah, you need to buy 100, whatever your currency is, I think, to get access to Greenlight to be able to post your stuff on that. And it doesn't go to Valve. They donate it to a charity.
Oh, that's cool.
It's just a deterrent because when Greenlight launched, everyone was like, people were joke posting and people were posting other people's work without their permission.
Yeah, and this putting a deterrent like that and make sure that people are actually relatively serious.
Yeah, exactly.
So you say that, but a couple of days ago I
said relatively.
Yeah, relatively.
Like you say that, but. A couple days ago, I saw a Greenlight page come across my Twitter feed.
Oh, that one.
Yes, you know the one I'm talking about.
Ugh.
So, James, do you know about this one?
I don't think so.
So it's basically someone put this thing on Greenlight, right? But there's literally nothing on the page.
Oh no, that's not the one I thought you meant.
It's just an empty
I haven't
page.
heard of that one.
No, it's was it the Melge Task Part 1 from a RPG game maker named Iocaine? There's literally nothing, and it's slated for release this summer. There's like 2 crappy screenshots, horribly misspelled, horribly...
There's only one screenshot.
Oh, there's only one screenshot.
There is one screenshot and it looks like RPG Maker.
Yes, and the description says basically nothing. It's due to release in summer 2015, and I'm thinking, how the hell did someone just like drop $100 on this? There's nothing here.
Some people. I thought you were going to talk about the really offensive one, which we shall not name because these people don't deserve any publicity, negative or otherwise.
No, that's why I'm not talking about that one.
Okay,
I'm talking about this one. Nothing out in the sun. Coming summer 2015. Absolutely nothing.
Probably just some kid or some troll with too much expendable cash.
Dude, like, come on. It's just so bad.
Expendable cash? That's not even a thing.
I think it's disposable income.
Disposable income. I know how to English. God.
Hey, you know what? They both work. But
That'd be a good game title, Expendable Cash.
The expendable cash. It's nothing but like Sylvester Stallone throwing money at Actions movie studios. Make this.
Isn't that basically what the Expendables is?
Yes.
Basically, yeah.
Glorious.
It kind of is. I grew up on like 80s, 90s action flicks, so seeing those people all in one movie was just like, yeah, I shouldn't like this, but I do.
This guy made a comment on his page. Lol, I don't care no more because this game just got accepted to Xbox Live. In all your faces.
I saw that.
That's definitely some kid.
I checked that, and if you guys don't know, Mari and Stacy from Geek Remix, they do Xbox Live like shitty looks. They look at the average number of kind of games that shows up on Xbox Live, and they're all like terrible or they're full of boobs.
They look at the indie channel, right? They look at there's Xbox Live Arcade and there's Xbox Live Indie Games.
I think they look at the
Xblich.
Xblich's pretty terrible for the most part.
My brother actually put a game on Xblich, and it was pretty good. But it was drowned out by all the horrible games, so that was sad.
I think there was one, it's literally a point-and-click boob game that they did the other day, and it's full of like the shittiest hand drawings. And I'm like...
Most of the games that they cover on One Shitty Look is like gratuitous boob games.
And I think 100% of those games comes from Xbox Live.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's all Xbox Live indie games.
So this kid here boasting that he got accepted to Xbox Live, that's not saying much, buddy.
No.
Not unless it's Xbox Live Arcade.
Yeah, which I highly doubt.
But
you know
yes.
you know it's Xbox Live indie games, by the way. This is a trick if you ever see anything on YouTube. If it has a timer instead of a proper demo, it's Xbox Live indie games because they don't get to make a demo. The demo version is literally just a hard cut-off timer, no matter what your game is.
Microsoft really did not do much to support indie gaming on that.
Nope, they didn't give a shit.
Wait,
My brother I can't even buy my brother's game because Xbox Live indie games never came to most European countries.
Wow.
Yeah.
Have a market.
Yeah. They were like, oh, it's not there. Yeah, and it's not really coming. Yeah. We don't really care. Also, this XNA thing is shit. Let's just drop that in the toilet.
That's right. I remember when they dropped that.
Yeah. Thanks, Microsoft. And then, like, the XNA thing was around the time when they were like, we're gonna do mobile. PC users, fuck off. You're gonna do Metro. And then they did the Xbox One, where they were like, everyone just fuck off. We're gonna do, like, Media Center now.
wow. Holy...
That's how you really feel.
Yeah. Holy crap.
You collectively bigger fuck offs since forever.
I have complicated feelings about Microsoft.
Complicated, huh?
I do like some of their stuff. I mean, XNA was really good. I mean, it was also really bad, but it was really good. and like they Microsoft Visual Studio 2013 Community Edition is free now to everyone, which is amazing. Mm-hmm. And they're working with Mono and Xamarin to get .NET to all systems, which C# being my favorite language is really good for me. So I like some of what Microsoft does, and then other stuff that Microsoft does, I'm like, Microsoft, please just go away forever now.
Mm-hmm. Wow. You have a very love-hate relationship with Microsoft.
Yeah.
I can understand that.
Oh my god.
We had to work with Microsoft during Mass Effect 1. Microsoft has something called GOPS, which is their geopolitical group, who essentially makes sure that the names and terms and things you're using aren't offensive to someone somewhere who will probably never play your fucking game anyways.
Wow.
And man, they are quite religious about their jobs. Let's just put it that way.
Well, can we get an example? Or
Is that why the Blue Aliens weren't technically lesbians?
I'm not sure if that's why that is, but I can tell you that's why the Citadel wound up called the Citadel instead of its original name, and
What was the
Reapers,
original name?
the Oculus.
What's wrong with Oculus?
I don't know, but apparently there was a country in whose language it. Yeah, I don't have the first-hand story. All I remember is the rumor that went around. It had something to do with translating roughly to anal sex and not being acceptable.
Wow.
What?
What?
Are you fucking kidding me?
That gives a whole new meaning to the term Oculus Rift.
Yeah, it really does, doesn't it?
Yeah. Holy.
Painful meaning.
Yeah.
Whoa.
The one though I can say a little bit more accurately is the Reapers were not called the Reapers.
Oh.
They were a race known as the Nazari,
Okay.
which it's got an N, an A, a Z, and somewhere in it there's an I as well. It's too close to Nazi.
Oh, come on. Come on.
To be fair, they kind of did you a favor, because Reapers is a way better name.
I hate Reapers as a name. It's so generic.
It's not a species name. It sounds like a type.
But it fits.
But it does fit.
It fits the thing.
It fits the narrative. To be sure,
Yeah.
like I am, Grim Reaper. They're going to
we are
wipe
the
out.
Reapers. Like they don't even bother to identify themselves as a certain race. They're just like, we are the things that are gonna kill you.
We're just generically death.
Generically death.
I am a huge Mass Effect fangirl up to the end. So I will defend all of Mass Effect right up till the ending of 3.
I have some fun stories from that project. I think I was on Mass Effect 1 for a year and a half? 2 years? I think 2 years.
But you do the planetary side missions.
No, I actually mostly worked on the Citadel. I had to handle a lot of the a lot of the combat on the Citadel.
That wasn't too bad compared to the planetary side missions.
I was assigned all of that past the point where level design was really a thing. So I had to shoehorn combat into places that did not deserve to have combat.
Weren't designed for it.
There were a couple spots in the Citadel where I just thought it was really awkward to fight in. Like
it's like this, but it had a certain charm about it because that makes it in a way kind of vaguely realistic.
Like you're not, it's not prep for a fight.
Completely frustrating to actually play.
You know the lower market area near Cora's Den?
Yes, I was just about to talk about that spot.
Yeah. You know how you can always tell when a fight could break out there? You come down there, and most of the people are gone. The people behind the desks may still be there, but everyone else is gone, and that's because there was no reliable way to make those people get the hell out of Dodge if a fight broke out.
Why
So
didn't-
if you enter that area and it is spawned with people you could potentially be fighting with because of a quest that you're on, most of those other people have already cleared out. They're gone. They're just not spawned in.
So basically, I walk into the wrong neighborhood.
Yeah, everyone else has already figured it out and gone home.
Yeah, they see all the heavily armed mercenaries show up, and they're like, "Yeah, I think it's time to go home."
Yep.
Well,
then-
Shepard was never the brightest bulb.
It's true. It's true.
I had to do the fighting in Korra's den, which is, big round room. Really? Fuck.
Korra's Den, that was
Terrible.
that was an awkward fight because sometimes I would use that the biotic push, and they'd land on top of the bar, right?
Yeah.
And then they'd just start like walking, like glitch walking.
It gets stuck.
Yeah. I'm like, what are you getting stuck? Oh, you're stuck between the two glasses of martini or whatever was on the bar.
There's no accounting for physics sometimes.
I was like, are those glasses made of black hole, like dark sun matter or something? Like, they were literally just start glitching in the same spot, just walking back and forth while shooting at me. I'm like, oh, okay. So,
Yeah, I did a bunch of the content that was going on there.
Did you do any of
implementation,
the Endgame Citadel fights?
No, Endgame Citadel was not me.
Oh,
That
I like
that,
those.
that person
those
though,
were quite good.
that
well-
person though was one of the best people they had on that team, and he went on to Mass Effect 2 and he did the entire suicide mission as well.
whoa.
Ah,
he also
I
did
would
Earth
like to
and
shake
Mars.
that man's hand.
He did Earth and Mars in 3. So sadly, in some ways, I wonder if he'd stayed on Endgame, could
Could
things
it have
turned out
not
differently?
sucked?
Yes. Could
Yeah.
things have been different?
See, I didn't work on Mass Effect, and I didn't work for BioWare, so I can safely say, without pissing anyone off, that the Mass Effect 3 ending was a fucking travesty.
That does seem to be the general opinion.
Yeah.
Legit, like, people had such an emotional attachment to these games, myself included, that it basically felt and still feels like a bad, ugly breakup that comes out of nowhere that you didn't see coming. And you're like, just why? Why did you do that? We had something so beautiful.
Something I can point
And
out
I
that I
just
did
don't understand.
off the Citadel that people may love or hate, depending.
What's up?
So, you remember all the Geth husks on the spikes?
Yeah.
The ones who come down and then come after you? Or the Rachni hiding in the vents? Or the Rachni hiding in the giant anthill type things?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry. I set all those up.
It was you!
I had control of the ambient life system we used for... I used to joke, if anytime someone's standing around sneezing, that's my work. The whole ambient life system, people who were leaning on counters, people who were standing in groups talking, all the Rachni and vents and husks on sticks. Those were all part of my system.
I didn't mind the husk on sticks parts because you kind of saw that coming.
The Rachni was so boring, though.
You bastard with those vents, man.
And to make sure the vents worked properly, the vent grating, because you don't want the player to be able to move it with grenades or anything, the vent weighting, like it weighs as much as a small planet. And the physics impulse, the physics impulse that knocks it off when they come up has the effect of an imploding star.
Holy shit!
That is amazing.
If I used anything less and you threw like a grenade at the vent, it would flip the vent off and stuff like that. Or, if you were standing on it, you could move it around and whatnot. So instead, it just weighs a ton and gets hit with a much greater force.
So basically, you just took you gave it the mass of a planet in
Wait, so
that
you
small space. It should have its own gravitational pull in your physics engine.
Vents. You didn't do the planetary, like when they come out of the holes on the planet.
I did that, yeah. Yeah.
Those weren't my favorite.
I imagine not. Hey, look, it's an anthill. What the shit?
It's like suddenly, oh, the bugs. Oh.
Suddenly, Rachni.
Except then, like half a dozen times later, it's like, okay, let's do the Ent Hill thing.
Yeah. Well, you know they're coming. It's like, let's just throw some grenades.
I make the very poor choice of 100%ing Mass Effect 1.
Wow.
Whoa!
Yeah.
I only 100%ed 2, and it all
I was like,
DLC.
nope, I'm not going to miss anything for Mass Effect 2. I'm going to do all the horrible side missions. Turns out that none of it matters.
Oh,
Joke's on me.
heartbreaking.
Yeah.
In 2, did you play... Oh, God, what was it called? The Project Overlord DLC?
Yeah, I did.
Do you remember at the final part of that, Atlas Base, where everything gets very lawnmower man-y, really creepy
Yeah.
kind of stuff?
Yeah, that was really cool.
Same guy who did the end of the suicide mission.
Damn.
Of course.
Yeah, generally when you find the best stuff in terms of gameplay...
Why is that guy not, like, famous?
He... You know, oddly enough, he and a few other people that I've worked with very, very actively avoid anything that might remotely resemble fame.
Yeah, I know someone who works at Treyarch who is also very much the same.
That's how you know you
I'm
can trust
totally
these guys.
in this shit for the fame, dude. I just actually want to make people happy.
Only reason anyone had ever heard of me was because I talked on the forums. I moderated like the old Bioware
Ooh,
forums.
that's a dangerous game.
It is. It really, really is. There were a couple times I got talked to and like, yeah, I know you know. We all know you know. But let's be careful. Always got to be careful.
Yeah.
That's some
So
espionage type
sick.
stuff, man.
Oh, I never did finish my introduction. I just realised. Because I have been doing other stuff than getting greenlit. I made a game. It's about hats.
Yes.
Oh, that was for Ludum Dare?
Yeah,
Yes.
I think I pronounced it.
that was my first four-man thing. We had
is-
me, Lena Lorray, who did the story and the puzzle design and worked out the mechanics with me. Yuzuki, who did the music, and Woof, who did the art. And everyone is getting compliments except for me, because the only time code gets mentioned is if you fucked it up.
Yep.
And let me
Yeah,
see
the
if I can-
programmer's job is to be invisible.
Yeah. So I'm just taking all compliments as if they are compliments to my work. Which technically they are, because if I wasn't there, then there would be
Well,
no...
the best compliment you can get is if no one has complained about anything exploding.
Yeah.
True.
Well, unfortunately, there was exploding.
Oh, there was the... Oh, that's right. There was a day
crashing
one
bug.
day one
Yeah.
crash bug on certain systems, right?
Yeah, I found out what that was. So,
What's that?
ooh, fancy.
Hang on. Something.
Ultra hat dimension.
Something is rotten. Something smells rotten in Denmark. Hang on. Oh, that's why.
So big to Denmark. Midbus does not currently run on Mac, Techno Dude, or Linux. I am gonna be working on that, but I want like the game to be pretty stable before I start working on other platforms. Anyway,
Why
so
is
I use a scripting engine in Ultra Hat Dimension that lets me do JavaScript,
why
whatever.
is this so weird? Hang on.
I don't know.
What's going on?
I'm trying to pull up the actual game on stream right now, but it keeps coming up in a weird window. I don't know why.
Search for Everyone Loves Pirates, Ultra Hat Dimension. Just do the YouTube thing.
All right.
You'll be fine with it. I know him. Yeah, so I use a JavaScript library, and the JavaScript library is cleverly made in that it uses the V8 Google engine, and it uses a 32-bit version or a 64-bit version, depending on the process and the machine it's running on. But apparently it does this in a weird way, because Windows, apparently, when you download a file from the internet, it says this is from a different computer. So it has some use restrictions. It's unsafe.
Huh.
And apparently, if you use Windows Explorer to unpack a zip file that Windows says came from the internet, then it propagates that came from the internet flag to all files in the zip file. Whereas if you use something like WinRAR or 7-zip or whatever, that actually creates the files so they're not blocked by Windows. And that block, which never had an issue in any of my games with anything, causes a crash in Ultra Hat Dimension. Except when it occurred, like, because we were running it from GitHub, from our repository, that wasn't a problem because everyone had pulled it down from Git, which created the files, which meant that they weren't blocked. So my team members were like, it works in the repository, but when I download it and unzip it, it doesn't work.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, God.
Yeah, and it was 4 a.m. and I stayed up till 6:30 fucking a.m. trying to figure it out, and eventually, with the help of someone else, we did. And recently I fixed it, so basically there was also another thing, like you needed the MS Visual C++ redistributable package, and because I use Visual Studio 2013 to compile the DLLs, Visual Studio 2013 is so recent that Windows 7 and Windows 8.1 don't come with a redistributable pre-installed, so people didn't have that either. So now I made a version that when you load it, it checks if the redistributable package is installed. If it's not installed, it installs it. And then I made basically a bin file that contains the ClearScript DLLs, and it detects if the bin file is in the directory. If it is, it gets the actual DLL files out from that and writes them to the disk. And because it does that, those are not blocked, and then the game can't crash.
I have to admit that stuff like that is why I actually, in spite of the restrictions that come with developing for console, I've always enjoyed developing for consoles because at least you know what the end specs are without question.
Yeah. There's
Which is
no
awesome
like
for optimization.
Yeah, there's no
And then you port it to
mystery
PC and it
bugs,
blows
like,
up
cannot
anyways.
replicate. Because I don't have a system with like these 20 particular pieces of software installed with a registry bug somewhere.
Yeah, I have no idea how many bugs crop up when you're testing stuff for PC that are just someone with the an antivirus program that decided, fuck you, don't like your program.
Oh, fuck on
It crashes all the
antivirus.
time. It's like, but I don't know why. And that's why you hate programming, Nine Title. It is the total love-hate, right? I love programming until it doesn't do what I want it to do.
Yeah.
Then we have words, and they're not nice.
Oh my goodness.
I don't get to do as much programming anymore.
No?
No, I'm stuck mostly in like level layout kind of stuff, low-level scripting stuff, which just isn't quite the same as actually
No,
programming
it's not
something
really
out.
the same.
Every so often, I miss it horribly.
Oh man, if I could like make a living just doing crazy tech, that would be all I would do. Just how can I do this crazy thing and solve this crazy problem, even though it's completely impractical to actually do it?
Well, the thing of that is, it's like someone's gonna run into that problem, and they're gonna be like, "Fuck," and then you're gonna be there with the solution, so you could like market yourself as a consultant.
Which leads me to the third thing that I've been doing.
Transition.
Yeah, thank you for the unintended bridge. No, it's totally planned.
We're just good like that.
Yeah, we're amazing. I was gonna do an MMO like ages ago.
Mm-hmm.
Like basically the first 10 years of my game dev existence were me trying to do MMOs.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna do another MMO, but that's a secret, so whatever. Okay, so Shroud of the Avatar is basically the new Ultima Online, and I am a massive Richard Garriott fangirl up to a point. Well, Ultima fangirl, I should say. And I've played Mabinogi, which has a music system where you can play in-game music from like a string of text, which denotes the music, if that makes sense.
Huh, that's interesting.
Yeah, it's kind of like what Lord of the Rings does with the ABC format, which is the same kind of thing. You just write down like C4 and it means play a C in the fourth octave. And then you
Oh, that's
can
pretty
control
cool.
the then you can control the volume and the speed and stuff like that. I think I mentioned this on the last podcast actually.
Yep.
Oh well, repeats. Everyone loves a good repeat. So
Oh, I thought you had some update on how the music thing was coming out.
yeah, well, I do have an update. So I made this ABC MML framework that can do both, and I donated it to Shroud of the Avatar. And apparently, like a bunch of people from Lord of the Rings have online, because they were making it worse, have now taken up residence in the thread I made about the framework on the Shroud of the Avatar forums.
Whoa, wait, what?
Yeah, basically they're like, if this comes, we're just gonna totally jump ship.
Huh.
So I made them a bunch of money, basically, if they actually get it in, which is seeming highly likely right now.
Wait, whoa.
I'm not going to see any of that money, by the way.
No,
No,
of course not.
hell no. You should walk into that room and say like, "Yo, I'm the originator. I'm the OP."
If you don't, well, they know. I am
OP is OP.
basically a Shroud of the Avatar mini celebrity at this point.
Nice.
I am a master, grandmaster? No, not grandmaster. I think master in the Poet's Circle when it comes out. And they're going to double my pledge. So I am going to get virtual cash monies.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. Pretty good. I'm quite happy with that. Like, just contributing to a big title is something I've always wanted to do.
Did they
And
go
now
in
I-
through Kickstarter or were they an Indiegogo project? they
I
were a
think they did
crowdfund project, right?
Kickstarter, but then they did a sort of Star Citizen, we're going to keep funding things
Yeah.
type thing.
Yeah, well, it's a bit necessary because let's face it, even when you work on your budget to the best of your abilities, it's never going to be right. Steam Bandits actually was a Kickstarter project. It was a Kickstarter project that eventually ran out of money because just things happen, but it's still going regardless. Some people have thrown in the towel, like, some projects they run out of their money and they're like, well, that's it, we can't do it anymore.
So would you say that that's like a budgeting issue?
No, he actually, the guy behind it did a good job of budgeting. The catch is there were people who stepped out. There were, I'm not sure how much of the current team is the team that was around at the time even of the Kickstarter. I mean, I wasn't around when that was.
Yeah, replacing
thing.
people must cost a lot of unexpected money.
Yeah, I mean, he's gone to great lengths to keep the project alive and moving forward all the time, however he can. It's a hell of an undertaking.
So are you getting like paid from the budget? Are you getting paid? Can you talk about this at all?
I am mostly working on the potential of the project,
Okay.
which is not the most ideal way to work, but I do have faith in the project. I like the people I'm working with, and I would really like to see it through to its end. So, shy of imminent starvation, I will not bow out.
Oh, that's good.
And streaming
I-
helps cover some stuff in the interim as well.
So would you say that that's a common thing, like with Broken Age and all that stuff, like Kickstarter's getting kind of a bad rap for people who can't budget, but we never know what is actually behind like these running out of money circumstances. Like, do you think it's usually the human element, or?
I'm not. It's hard to say. I think I'm not sure which people just have no budgeting skills and which people have budgeting skills, but just life is
budget?
full of curveballs. Curveballs.
Yeah,
There's
just bad luck.
Yeah, it's inevitable. I mean, hell, we wound up in a bit of a rough spot because wife suddenly required foot surgery. Her job requires her to be on her feet all the time, so it's 2 months without work, just, right there, and you can't see that stuff coming.
No, you can't budget
So now you've
for
incurred
that.
not only the cost of medical bills, but the loss of income due to recovery. There's. I think you have to budget with an excess in mind because things will happen. If you budget down to the fine brass tacks, it's not going to work.
No,
Something will happen and we'll throw it all out.
You have to budget for life. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah,
you do.
life is gonna happen to someone eventually.
In the case of Broken Age, didn't they pull a lot more than they had asked
Yeah,
for?
I think
And then
Broken
they
Age
still-
was basically like there was some industry guy who had worked with Tim Schafer who was all like, no, Tim Schafer is terrible at meeting deadlines and sticking to the budget. And then the internet was all like, boo, we love Tim Schafer.
Yeah.
And now the internet is all like, that guy may have been right.
Oh, because of the budgeting for Broken Age.
Yeah.
I mean, they made a lot more money than they asked for, and then they still couldn't actually deliver what they said when they said.
Yeah. Broken Age made about, what, $2.5 million on their first Kickstarter?
It was something like that.
Correct?
$2.5 million isn't even that much, though.
No, I mean, it looks enormous on Kickstarter. But so many Kickstarters are a couple of people that you think, oh, it's a couple of people at 2.5 million.
That's true.
No, it's
Double
probably a
Fine
hell
was-
of a lot more than that.
Double Fine's a whole studio of, what, 15, 20 people?
Yeah, that's a good question. Let me actually see if I can find out.
I mean, if you're like Star Citizen and you're the most obscenely well-funded, crowdfunded thing in the history of ever, well, you can do a bit more. They're going on 100 million now. I'm actually thinking of buying a $290 imaginary spaceship.
I may
Double
have...
Fine is somewhere over 50.
I may have reaped Finn's soul earlier today.
I may have caved, yes, and bought the $45. I actually got the Mustang.
Oh shit, dude! I'm in on Star Citizen as well, and I gotta tell you,
Really?
I haven't paid the slightest amount of attention to it since I backed the original Kickstarter.
Shit.
Yeah, I haven't played Arena Commander, like, not even a little.
I'm
It's
not
pretty
paying
decent.
any attention. But I also, because I worked in games, I don't like to play unfinished games.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
don't.
that makes sense.
Yeah, I have a better idea of where it's probably going, but the fact is, I
That takes the
spend all
mystery
day.
out of it.
Well, I was gonna say I spend all day working with software that's gonna blow up in my face at a moment's notice, anyways.
Yeah.
When I'm actually playing something for fun, I really would rather not have it exploding in my face at random.
That is true.
Yep, very, very true.
I have the same problem with Shroud of the Avatar as well. Like, I belong to this really cool community, like a player-run town, because you can run your own towns in Shroud of the Avatar. And they're very community involved, and it's all very cool. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not really going to play until the game is actually, like, ready. Because, I don't know, I just don't have that kind of mental energy to spend on an unfinished product.
Yeah.
It's just hard to get hyped, I guess.
That
Was
and
that
the further
way
it
you
is
feel?
from finish, the more flaws we're likely to see.
Well,
That's-
the
I
good part
shred-
about... Oh, sorry.
I was gonna say I regularly shred finished games that a lot of people love because I see so many holes in them. The hell kind of holes am I going to see in an unfinished game?
This reminds me of the time that Vin was streaming that one game, Sleeping Dogs.
Oh, yeah.
And I was in chat, and I saw the reflections in... It was raining in-game, and I saw the reflections
On the
at
water
night
puddles, yeah.
on the pavement, like
Yeah.
the wet asphalt.
Yep.
And I totally couldn't focus on the game anymore. I was like, how did they do that? And I started Googling it, because I am terrible.
You were all over that in chat. It's like, oh, Vin, look at the water. What is that?
It
like-
was so pretty.
I
And
had-
I'm
I
I
had
have
this-
no idea how they do it.
I had to pull over the car so that you could look at a puddle. You were like, Vin,
I
wait, go back,
believe
go
it.
back.
This is what game development does to you.
I had to stop the car. Thank God I wasn't in the middle of a chase. I had to stop the car, pull over, and angle the camera so that she can look at the reflection.
I had to make sure that it wasn't faked, which it wasn't, which threw me off even more. There was
Game
also
development is being excited about all the things that no one else pays any attention to.
yeah. There was also the game that Total Biscuit did, WTF is of Banished? Is that the little village sim thing?
Banished is a city builder.
Yeah, that's a city builder, right?
Yeah, it's a city builder.
Yeah. And he was doing something alongside the river. And a thing that I had in Project Drake is the way you make water move is you take 2 normal maps, or bump maps, or whatever you want to call them, and it's just the same texture, so because that's just more efficient in performance, and you just slide them along each other, and you add the directions the water is pointing in to get the final direction, and that's how you make water. But one problem is if you do that, eventually there's going to be a point where the 2 textures are going to be aligned. They're going to converge. And it's unnoticeable to most people. But if you've worked with water shaders, you know that unless you make sure that there's always an offset to one of the 2 textures, eventually they're going to converge and it's going to look shitty. And he was doing his WTF is, and I was totally not paying attention because I was staring at the water. I was like, it's going to converge, it's going to converge, it's going to converge. And you know what? It converged. Bam, drop the mic. I'm done.
Called it.
There was something older in Unreal 3. I'm trying to remember which game it was, but they had these amazing reflections. Like, they were hyper accurate, and people weren't sure what they were doing. And we found out later what they'd done is they doubled their geo, flipped it upside down, put it underneath,
Nice.
and just let you see through.
Yeah, that is
Really,
the classic reflection
Damn it.
method.
The end is coming, people with water in games. The convergence is
I was
nigh.
right. The convergence happened.
Like you were right. You were right.
It's kind of like the year 2K bug. It came and went and didn't really do anything.
So, a quick thing from Zilrex. Zilrex asked, as someone who has 100-something games on Steam, why is it every time I go to reinstall or install a game, they ask to check for DirectX?
Oh god, why are there are there multiple variations of DirectX basically, or
I don't
that's the
read
question.
DirectX, so this is 1 for 0.
I don't work directly with DirectX really ever.
Tied
up in all the random executable stuff that just gets taken care of naturally.
It's probably just easier because all the Microsoft installers like that shit are made so if you install it while it's already installed, it just doesn't really do anything, or it fixes whatever is wrong if there's some wrong registry keys or whatever. So it's probably just safer and easier to always install it than
Brute force checking.
Yeah. Plus, DirectX does have like a bazillion revisions, I believe. But don't quote me on that one.
I want to ask is just, does it not check, or are there probably slight variations in builds?
I think both.
Yeah, sadly, I'm not super familiar with DirectX.
Yeah, making a game is a whole different profession from the people who make the game install.
Wow.
Yeah,
It is.
those 2 worlds should just not touch.
We had separate people, and back at Bioware on Neverwinter Nights, we had separate people who programmed the installer and dashboard for the game.
Wow.
And they were just separate couple of people, and that was their thing. They handled the installer and the dashboards and the updater, but not the game.
Huh.
Well, they're not really related things. Like, installing the game legit has next to nothing to do with actually running the game. So it makes sense. Very few things in game development are that clear-cut separated.
Just funny because I guess in a way that actually is one of the biggest differences between AAA and indie. AAA, it's all about specialization. I am the guy that does this one thing. No one else does this one thing. That is my thing. Whereas as an indie, it's I wear every hat I can fit on my head. I'm a fucking Team Fortress 2 person right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
You can't be indie if you can't wear more hats than Team Fortress 2 character.
Or Ultra Hat Dimension.
Exactly.
It's a game you can play right now.
Post
pretty
a
good.
link. Post a link. I feel like you forget sometimes that you can just
Yeah,
post a
I
link.
know. I am terrible at self-promotion.
Well, to be fair, when it hits YouTube, they can't click on the link there, but they can certainly hear what she said.
Like, I've got the shameless self-promotion. I've got the shameless part down, but the self-promotion bit needs work.
I feel bad whenever I post links to like my Patreon or the book I published. Any of those things is like, yeah, so it's like self-plugging time. Here's my links. Don't hate me.
Yeah. You know what you need to do? You need to make a game, put it on Greenlight, and then try and get it through Greenlight. And I guarantee you, by the end of the Greenlight process, you will have lost the concept of shame.
I think streaming is helping with that too. Need more people in here. Where else can I go looking for people?
Yeah.
It's like throwing out a net and trolling the internet for people. Just gonna see what the net catches. You wanna come watch? Wanna come watch? How about you? You wanna come watch?
Yeah, indie dev is like, if you have shame, it's gonna either cure you or you're gonna find a day job. Basically. And I think it's the same with streaming and probably also YouTube. I've actually been doing really well on YouTube. I've been getting like 50 views every video. It's amazing.
Nice. I only have the one video up.
Yeah, you really need to get on that. With
I didn't
all
get
that
rid of
free
that one
time
because
you
I think
have.
I need to. I need to move all my old archives up there more than anything else. But the one that's up there is like so horrifying. I kind of want to keep it around out of morbid curiosity just to see how many views it ultimately gets.
What is it? I think Finn should just put it up on screen.
No, I really think you shouldn't.
Link it.
No,
Link
trust me. Trust me.
I know one of you guys in
Trust
chat
me.
knows what he's talking about. Drop
Guys,
the link.
don't do it.
Drop.
Don't do it.
Yo, drop the beat. Zilrex, I know you got me. Drop the beat.
You guys better have my back right now. Don't do this.
Ooh.
This podcast is going up on YouTube, man. We're doing it. We're doing it live.
Wait, it has licensed music. So if you wanna put this up,
Ooh.
Damn. Touche.
just realize that.
Touche.
It's not been
Probably
monetized
better
or
not
anything.
to.
It was for a competition, but it does have licensed music, so you probably don't want to play in this.
Damn. Touche.
Well played. Well played.
Deflected.
Well
But
played.
it is very interesting, I think. I mean, this is the Game Dev podcast, but we do have, like, the host is a YouTuber,
Yep.
and I'm a pretend YouTuber, and Zero's a streamer. So it's interesting that even though it's like two entirely different things, indie game development and streaming and YouTubing, I lump those into one category, even though they're completely different.
We're all synergistic on each
Yeah,
other.
it all works together, but it also requires a lot of the same skills.
It is. There's a lot of crossover, a lot of really interesting crossover, especially when you start to look at the PR and promotion side of it.
Yep. That one, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, but also just like making, I don't know, streaming layouts and title cards and outros on YouTube and
Yeah.
making a trailer for your game. That doesn't suck. I haven't really managed yet.
Hey, I helped, and it wasn't awful.
Made it better.
Well, and then you also get people like Black Ice, who streams the process of development.
Yeah, Garrett does a really good job with that. Oh, Techno Dude, drop the link.
He's actually Black Ice is actually how I wound up. Licensed music, dude. Don't you do it. I see you highlighting that.
Oh,
Anyways.
damn it. It's just a sing along.
Yeah, hence the music.
Damn it. I thought you were going to do like a crazy dance or something too, because then that's
Oh
visual.
God, no.
That's
No,
oh,
you want to see me make that much an ass of you for myself? Friday nights on my channel.
Friday nights.
Yep, late night is when all the real alcohol comes out.
You do.
And by the end of
Get
that-
up early sometime. But you were saying about Black Ice?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, he's actually indirectly responsible for my being a streamer.
Oh,
Really?
Yeah, it's one of those small world kind of stories. I followed him on Twitter because I was primarily using Twitter to I stayed off Twitter for ages, and I finally got on it. And was like, all right, I need to make use of this tool. So I started following independent developers. Black Ice was one of them. And
I
he
was also
tweeted,
one of them.
I'm streaming some, live game dev. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna pop in on that and see what's going on. So I'm hanging out in there. I'm talking to him, watching him work, and Tobor Prime shows up, the developer of Savage: The Shard of Ghost, if you're familiar with that. And I start talking to him for a bit, and he mentions this other Twitch channel he watches a bunch called twitch.tv/indie. Like, oh, sounds interesting. Maybe I'll stop by sometime. I wound up spending some time in Indie's channel over a couple weeks, talking to people there and watching him play stuff. And he starts playing Dark Souls, and I get to join him. Like,
I remember
well, as a
that.
test, maybe I'll try streaming my side of it. And I haven't stopped since.
I
All
actually,
because I went into Black Ice's channel that one day.
wow. I actually watched some of those early Dark Souls-y things, but at the time, I didn't really understand Dark Souls. I understand Dark Souls now because Andres, some of you might know.
Andres Indoril is a YouTuber who
Yeah.
currently does a lot of Dark Souls stuff and Fallout stuff right now.
Yeah, I'll post his link. He did a complete playthrough of Dark Souls 1, so now I understand what it's all about. But at the time, I was like, what the hell even is this? So that's why I didn't stick around. The funny thing is, though, so you watch Black Ice, and I'm friends with Black Ice and have been for a pretty long time now.
Yeah, a couple
And
of
he
years
got-
now.
Couple of years? That long?
Hey,
Wow.
I met you and Garrett back in fall of 2012.
Wow, has it been that long?
It's been years.
Jesus Christ.
Yes, we've known each other for years now.
Wow, I am old.
Time flies.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway,
Yes to both.
so you got into streaming because of Garrett, and then I graduated college, and then I was working, and at night I wanted something to wind down with, and YouTube wasn't cutting it anymore because I had too much free time to watch videos. So I started watching your stream, and you were really cool about me promoting Mid Boss in your stream, and
I'm always happy to help with that.
that was probably partially responsible for me getting my game greenlit. So, it's all very interesting. That's my
It's a
point.
very small world.
And now you're on the Game Dev podcast. And the
It's a
cycle
cycle.
continues. Yeah.
It's come full circle.
Vin, I want to say I think I met you in Indy's channel too. Was it Indy's or maybe it was Toe Wars?
Really?
I'm positive I met Vin initially on Twitch.
Yes.
Really? That is interesting because you were following me, I think, before you were following Vin. Although I
Yep.
can't say that for sure.
No, I
Yeah.
believe so.
Yep. I believe it was Indy's channel.
It sounds about right. I met a lot of people in his channel.
Yes, I want to say it's Indy's channel.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's really bizarre because I always assumed that you became familiar with Finn because of finding him on Twitter through me.
I think that would have been the initial. It's either one way or the other. Like the initial contact happened on Indie Stream.
Yeah, I met you in Indie Stream,
And we just started
Then I
chatting.
wound up finding you on Twitter.
Yeah, I think Eniko retweeted something of yours, and I was like, "Oh, it must be the same person." So
That sounds like me. I do a lot of retweeting.
See, the internet is awesome.
yes,
Yeah, it really is.
it's lovely for networking and connecting with people, and just incredible.
The weirdest thing is I was living in New York for a little while, upstate New York, and I found a bunch of people on Twitter who were like, "Oh, these are really cool people," and I started talking to them, and some of them I'd see in my stream, and a bunch of them turned out to be in Austin, and then I moved back to Austin. It's like, "Hey, I know more people here now that I met while not even here."
It's like, you live in the same state? What? Yeah.
It was nice to. I mean, I left Austin for a couple of years, and then when I came back, I knew more people who lived here than I did when I lived here.
See, it hasn't worked that way for me. I know even more people who don't live where I live now. I'm trying to get to the United States, but it's not easy.
No, I'll believe that. I'm not American by default.
Oh, really? What are you?
I'm British Canadian.
Wow.
Yeah, I was born in England. I grew up in Canada, and then I came down to the U.S. for work, and I've stayed here since. Went through the green card process, and that was a huge pain in the
I
ass.
hear that the green card process is even worse than a green light process.
Dude.
Yeah.
Amen.
That's a little bit more money.
I have family members who have been on the green card line for like decades, but that's
Really?
yes. My one.
Yeah.
Then again, this is coming from communist Vietnam, so
Yeah.
so it's a bit different than. From,
Oh, are they playing the lottery thing? Are they doing the green card lottery thing?
Possibly.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I might be able to get in with like a investors B2 visa or something with my business, but I'm not going to hold my breath. But it would, like, this is relevant to the podcast because I do really want to be in the United States partially because it's just better for my business.
It's probably
Or-
easier to find side contract people for work if you need additional stuff for your project, and then it's always easier to interface
Yeah.
with people if you're in the same time zone or close to it.
That's not even the problem, like, because I work from home, I can live on East Coast time. I basically do. I get up at noon and I go to bed at 3, 4 a.m. And that's fine because I'm a
What do I?
night owl. So I would love to, like, even shift that further, but occasionally I have to do something in the morning. So, and that sucks if you're getting up at like 3 p.m. Plus people look at you funny. It's
like
very,
you're
very
like you're a
odd.
vampire.
Yeah. But, yeah. And then you're like, but I only asked you if I could suck your blood. And they get all offended and stuff. It's really weird.
Lines to take out of context.
But yeah. What was I saying? Oh yeah.
Moving to the U.S.
Yes.
All the good events are in the US. And good marketing, you kind of need to go to events. Like, not because events will convert into that much revenue, I don't think. I'm not sure. I'm going to be testing this hypothesis at the end of the month at MomoCon. But, like, social justice warriors, right?
Oh, from
The game,
Nanodecimal.
not the
yeah.
people.
Yeah, the one by Nonodecimal.
Yes.
Yeah, Monodecimal, who was at PAX
He-
with Garrett and
Is this PAX
um,
East?
You're thinking PAX
I-
South actually, because I
PAX
met
South, I
him
think.
and Garrett and Eric
Eric.
behind Earth Tongue.
yeah,
Yeah, I actually
shared
had
a
dinner with
booth.
all of them.
yeah. So they were at PAX South, and Jesse Cox and Dodger were also at PAX South, No, wait, Jesse Cox and Crendor. I don't think Dodger went, but I'm not sure. But it's not relevant. So Jesse Cox and Crendor were at PAX South, and they played Social Justice Warriors, and they really got a kick out of the concept. So that was just before the podcast that Total Biscuit does with them, and Crendor was the guest that week. And Jesse Cox and Crendor were talking on the podcast about Social Justice Warriors, and then TB's audience basically crashed non-decimal server.
Yeah.
And TB was like he did a tweet on Twitter, and TB was like, and I didn't even link it in chat. Just talking about it crashed the server.
Yep.
And then TB did a WTF is of it, and that's basically the kind of thing that you want to go to events for, to get one of those lucky hits, I think. And in Europe, it's like you have Rezzed in the UK, but that's basically only for the UK people. And then you have GDC Europe and Gamescom, which people have corrected me on this, but I'm not sure they were correct. They were simultaneous at least once, which is really dumb.
I don't know about that, but I think Gamescom is no more.
What? No, it's still going.
I'm pretty sure that's still on.
There's one convention that just stopped running because they simply ran out of money. And it was the one where a lot of big YouTubers, like Jesse Cox, got all of his fans to come to it. Gamescom is still a thing in Germany? Oh, okay, thank you.
Yeah, it's always been in Germany. It's like right across the street from GDC Europe. And GDC Europe is like the more developer-oriented thing for networking, and then Gamescom is more for the actual games and the consumers. But those are the only two things of worth, and they're not like, neither of them is like PAX, where you have fans and devs and streamers and YouTubers all interacting and mixing and mingling, if you know what I mean.
I did find that when I went to PAX South, it's the first PAX I'd gone to, and to be fair, the only reason I was able to go is because it's practically on my doorstep. It's only a couple of hours away, so didn't have to deal with a lot of the extra costs of travel. And what I found is that PAX South itself was, it was there. Didn't really matter. I mean, I ran the, up and down the show floor a few times and checked a few things out and whatnot. But all the really, really cool stuff was typically happening outside of PAX South. At the end of the day, where there was things like the Jackass PAX cast was freaking awesome. I got to meet tons and tons of other Twitch streamers. I met Garrett, I met Eric, I met Nana Decimal. I got to have dinner with some of these people. The stuff happening outside was so much more interesting than what was happening inside.
Yeah, but that's like
it's just a big excuse for everyone to land at one place.
Yeah, but that's like every event ever. Like anime conventions.
Yeah, the event is
in the
always
Netherlands is also
secondary
like,
to the
if you
people.
just go there for the event, it sucks. But if you go there for the people, it's amazing. But Gamescom, you can't go for the people. It's just a bunch of waiting in line to see a trailer for some AAA game that you don't give a shit about, because AAA games haven't been good in a decade. No offense. No offense.
Oh, I mean, we have James is right here.
Your words, they wound me. To be fair, though, I have found that a lot of the stuff that I've streamed, the things that have gone over the best, the stuff that seems most universally enjoyed, has not been AAAs. It's not been necessarily indie either, but it's been the smaller studios doing niche things that, I mean, I never would have pegged Oreshka Tainted Bloodlines as being so damn good, and that one went over fantastically well. That's why we ran it for so long.
And for the record, I'm sorry for wounding you with my words, but my role as co-host on the Game Dev podcast is to make the hard-hitting commentary and call things literally worse than Hitler.
Yeah. I'm the one that makes everything work. She's the one that insults and does all the stuff.
Yeah, I'm the one who stokes the flames, as it were.
And I'm the one that
double A's killing it lately.
single A games, A+, A-.
Yeah.
and eventually we'll work our way down to F games.
F games for the win.
Isn't that like indie isn't even a thing? Like, if you compare like Star Citizen and someone's first Snake game, they're both indie, but it's not really comparable.
I think
I mean, Star Citizen has a lot more people, a lot more money behind it. It's one of those weird kind of, where is the actual line now? Because AAA usually has to do with a combination of budget, staff size, and marketing power. I think those are the three typical criteria that dictate whether something is a AAA game or not. I mean, technically, for instance, Dark Souls 2, despite being a fairly major release and whatnot, is not a AAA title.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if Bloodborne made it up to AAA though, because I know there was a hell of a lot more pre-release hype.
Big.
A lot more. Yeah, From Software's kind of gotten bigger since, but I'm not sure if they've breached the AAA yet, or if they're kind of sitting right on the cusp.
Isn't Japan like slipping out of the AAA space and has been for years though? Like, aside from a couple of big developers like Nintendo.
Yeah, aside from some Nintendo first-party stuff, and I guess flagship Final Fantasy still having tons of money thrown at it, I don't really think they're doing much in the way of AAA anymore.
At what point does a studio make it from quote unquote make it from indie to AAA? Like, do they have to go public, like have stock and stuff like that, or like what is there a defined line?
I'm really not sure.
Because,
I mean, for a while it was we have no publisher, kind of meant independent, because you were independent from a publisher, but by the same token, I would not call Valve an indie studio. They have no publisher.
And
yeah,
look at RSI and the makers
Valve
of
kind of is a publisher at this point. Like, not technically.
Steam is the publisher. Because
Steam is its own beast.
Yeah, apparently Steam and Valve are separate entities now. They just happen to be run under the same people.
Yeah.
I think there was a legal split between Valve and Steam a couple years ago, but it's still the same. They're the same employees, just legally different.
Valve has some really interesting approaches to business, and I'm kind of curious what they're up to right now in some ways, because a little while back, so like I said, January before last, I attended Steam Dev Days, and there was a very, very heavy emphasis on virtual reality at the time. A lot of talks in virtual reality. They had some of their own equipment present, but it was running behind closed doors, and only a few people were able to actually go in and check that stuff out. And sometime in the next 6 months afterwards, they basically packed up all of their VR stuff and let go of most of their VR team and essentially handed them over to Oculus. So all those guys picked up and went over to Oculus instead. And then a little bit earlier this year, we get Valve's whole thing with like their unveiling of their major VR project and stuff, which is really odd because I thought they had essentially stepped out on the grounds that they prefer to develop software for hardware as opposed to developing hardware itself. I was really unsure what they're kind of aiming for there. It seemed like a really weird move on their part. Especially after giving up all of that talent.
Who knows what Valve is thinking at any given moment, though? It's like an inscrutable black box.
I can tell you what they're not thinking about Half-Life 3.
Oh!
Burn!
Sorry, it had to be said.
Yes.
He's stealing my jobs. Goddamn foreigners coming into our podcast, taking our jobs. Why I order.
Says the
Does
Dutch
that officially
lady.
make me worse than Hitler?
Not yet, but you're getting there.
Says the
Hooray.
Dutch lady to the British Canadian.
British Canadian American, I suppose, at this point.
Yes.
I am a strange thing at this point.
You are your own citizen.
But yeah, Valve is very interesting in that they have this flat, no managers structure with desks on wheels.
Yeah.
And if if you're not in the right place, you just up and move and you go do something else. So at any given moment, anyone could be doing anything. And that's I think a large part in what makes them seem so directionless from the outside, because to a degree they probably are very directionless.
I imagine that somewhere in the ether, every so often, something resembling a direction begins to coalesce, and then they go in that direction and they release a game, and then just everything dissolves again.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I think a lot of their problems, though, with Steam and Greenlight and all of that stuff can be attributed to that kind of model. I just don't think it's very good for running a video game empire. Well, apparently it's working for them, so,
They are
Maybe
a
it is.
significant entity. Speaking of significant entities, the...
Are you calling me fat?
Damn!
That would be a very eloquent way of putting it.
I'm saving the use of that one for one of my next streams.
Yeah.
Damn, girl, you're a very significant entity.
That's better than you have a great personality. You're a very significant entity.
Jesus Christ.
Two really significant entities.
Damn. I'm saving that for tomorrow.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm derailing again.
No.
Which is also my job.
Yes. If I was paying Eniko, she would get a raise for doing such a fantastic job derailing all of our podcasts.
I love getting raises out of people.
All that entity up
That's
in
not
those
how that
jeans.
works, is it? It's a rise out of people.
But yeah, did you guys hear about what happened with Green Man Gaming this past week?
Oh, yeah.
The batch of keys they had for, what was it? Was it Witcher 3?
Witcher 3.
That,
Yeah.
that CD Projekt did not know how the hell they got those keys.
Yep.
Yeah, because up to this point, Green Man Gaming has been, to the best of my knowledge, a legitimate way of purchasing keys, and that's the first time I've seen them. So they wind up with a bunch of stuff that is not legitimate, as opposed to, say, G2A, which I think is like 90% illegitimate keys.
So yeah, for those of you guys who do not know, Green Man Gaming recently started a 33% off sale on Witcher 3 keys,
Which isn't even out yet?
which is not out yet. They got pre-release keys somehow.
10 more days, I think.
And apparently CD Projekt Red is getting 0% of those earnings.
Well,
Ooh.
there's conflicting reports on that. So Green Man Gaming's side of this is they approached CD Projekt Red and they were like, dude, we want to sell your game. And they were in talks for 6 months, and then CD Projekt Red were like, we're shutting this down. We want to focus on our own distribution via GOG. And Green Man Gaming's point of view is, well, people want it, and if you're not going to deal with us, we're going to find a different way to deal. So, according to Green Man Gaming, they went to...
They got it from a third party.
Yeah, they got it from third-party sources, which were vetted by CD Projekt Red to be
Yeah.
able to sell what they were selling.
Yep.
So that is a legitimate transaction, and according to Green Man Gaming, that money they paid those retailers is going to CD Projekt Red, and they are taking the 33% cut out of their own pockets.
Yep.
Huh, okay.
And CD Projekt Red disputes this. And I'm going to err on the side of CD Projekt Red is the one being honest here.
I wonder, is it a question of honest or just unclear right now? Because I can absolutely see that scenario unfolding. That wouldn't surprise me in the slightest. But if you don't know where the keys came from, then it's certainly going to look incredibly fishy to you initially. So it's
Yeah.
possible that neither of them is
possible.
lying.
it is possible that CD Projekt Red is like, we didn't authorize this and we don't know if we're getting money for this. And they might be getting money. And like, to play the devil's advocate, I think it's a scummy thing that Green Man Gaming is doing. On the other hand, there is a market, and
For the keys,
just with piracy, it's like, if you're not gonna cater to that market, then the
They're gonna
market
find
is
their own
gonna
way.
find a
Yeah.
way to cater.
Yeah,
That's
that's
very
one of the
true.
unfortunate things about the massive shift to digital content. Not that, honestly, there weren't ways to get around having to have the CD in your drive as well, right?
Yep.
Yeah, no CDE.
Yep.
Getting around PC security has been a thing for many, many, many a year. I still remember old school DRM. Enter word 6 on paragraph 3 of page
Yeah,
25 in the
use
manual.
dial.
But I borrowed this from a friend. Tough shit.
I like the way that the Ultima series did it. They let you play in the first town or the first castle, and then eventually they would ask you questions to ascertain if you were really the avatar. And the questions were in the booklet, in the manual. So they actually integrated it into the actual in-game setting. So that was cool.
Oh god, I remember Metal Gear Solid. At one point there was a specific radio frequency you had to dial, but it was not in the manual or anything in the game. It was,
on the back
of the game
yeah,
case.
the case.
Yeah, God
Yeah,
forbid that
yeah.
you rented the game.
Oh my
Still
god,
a thing back then.
I remember that because my cousin lost the game case and he flipped his shit.
Oh man.
Oh, that's so sad.
That's why I remember it was. That's why I remember specifically it was on the back of the game case because he lost it for a while and he flipped his shit.
That's
It's
so sad.
early
She
DRM
said, while
haunting the
laughing her
actual
ass
purchaser.
off.
That was man.
Oh god, that's
I-
unfortunate.
I actually
remember
was
that.
watching a Let's Play of Star Tropics the other day.
Wow.
And apparently there's a part in the game where you get a card with the game, and the
Oh,
game
God.
tells you that you got something from your scientist uncle, and you have to do something with water. And apparently you had to put the card into water to find out the coordinates, the code of where you needed to go.
Well, that's certainly different.
Yeah, that was very different, and people didn't get it. And the people who did get it were like, am I really supposed to dunk this in water? I'm not sure I want to.
If you think about it, it's almost like early augmented reality gaming too.
Yeah, it's
And DRM
almost
mixed into
clever
one.
if it wasn't so dumb. It's like you were so close to having a thing there, and then you went and fucked it up.
No one's gonna willingly damage their stuff
No.
unless they really just don't care.
Yeah, exactly.
Or
so they
they-
put
or
it in
you
the
send
next
them a
Nintendo
replacement.
magazine. Like, this is the code. If you have the thing, you can put it in water.
Oh man, bypassing
nice.
early DRM before the internet.
But to go against Green Man Gaming, I have heard of key reselling sites, and they just get keys from any source they can,
Bundles or sales.
bundles,
Yeah.
or even like those fraudulent. Oh, I'm a YouTuber.
Yeah, that's the most common one I
Keys.
hear about.
Yeah, and I've heard that happening to a few indie devs that I know. I won't name any
know-
names because privacy reasons.
Yes.
But it's very scummy, and it breaks my heart, basically.
Oh, I think one of the funniest ones I've seen is where they misspelled PewDiePie. Like they put in the number 3 instead of the letter E.
But I didn't use PewDiePie.
Yeah, I'm surprised
PewDiePie.
did not come up. But yeah, they just subtly misspell all these like big names. And it's like, why would you do that? Like, what is the point?
Well, when you want a
Yeah.
free key.
Oh yeah.
Isn't that what Do Press Kit is all about? To have like a Rami from Flambia
Oh,
He's he does the press kit thing.
Mm-hmm.
And he also does it's dodistribute.com, I think.
Okay,
where you can register that you have keys, and then you can register that you're an entity that takes keys, and then you can both vet each other or something. Not quite sure how that works.
Huh.
I think a lot of people have settled for something to do with having to actually send a message like with your YouTube account. Sending it from your YouTube account so you can vet very, very clearly, yes, this is in fact PewDiePie and not PewDiePie with a 3.
I think a lot of people now are like, you better use the email address that you have on your YouTube channel. And if it doesn't match, you're not getting a key.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's sad it's come to that. Like, I can, like, it's scummy, and I don't pirate games. But I can kind of see, like, pirating games from some faceless, horrible corporation that completely screws up the ending of Mass Effect 3.
She is never gonna let that go.
In my defense, I was not on that
saying
team
you
for
should
3.
do that. I'm not saying you should do that, but I'm like, if there's a horrible company that makes a game that you want to play, I can kind of see the moral grey area for some people to be like, fuck it, I'm going to steal it.
Yeah, some people it just requires a minimal amount of justification to do it.
Yeah,
It's like,
but
I
like
don't
some
really want to give
indie
them my money, but I do want to play
put
this
their
game.
heart and soul into it. It just breaks my heart, and like, which is really complicated because I am a vampire. And yet my heart breaks.
You are really loving like getting all up in that mic.
I know, it's so cool. I am currently petting my microphone.
Did you get a new one or?
I got a Blue Yeti.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I love this
Solidarity.
thing so
Rocking mine
much.
as well.
Mm-hmm.
Now I can tolerate listening to myself.
I think the only problem with the mic is its audio gain is a little bit super high all the time.
Yeah.
Someone coughs anywhere in this apartment, the mic will pick it up.
Ah,
Yeah.
I see. Okay.
I have a problem with my mechanical keyboard like Des. And also, can you hear my squeaky chair? Damn it, I can't get it to squeak. It always squeaks and now it doesn't squeak. God damn it.
Oh,
No,
Nope.
it's not doing it. It's for fuck's sake. Anyway, yeah, it picks up everything. But it's so nice.
It is a great mic though, all in all.
Laura is just being really lewd in chat. I approve.
I got.
I think she's just
chat up
implying
on-
she'll start making noise from the other room because my mic will pick it up.
Oh, I thought it was like a euphemism.
God damn! I will never look at it the same way again.
Oh, actual question from Technome. Is it wrong to pirate a game if you already own it on another console?
Ooh.
I personally have to go with yes. I am always on the side of making sure that
Don't
money
pirate.
goes to all the appropriate licensures. Different console means cut of that money is going to
Yeah.
different people.
There's costs involved, and if there's costs involved, then you should just buy it again, or just fucking buy it once.
The one gray area that I have a habit of letting slide is you buy a game legally on PC. And it only ever seems to come up on PC. So buy a game legally on PC, and then you basically use. Well, I guess this is less relevant with all digital stuff now, but you use a cracked version of it just so you don't have the damn CD in the drive.
Oh yeah, that was yeah. That
I have
I
that
came up a
problem.
bunch
with
I've done
the
that.
Wind.
There was a couple years ago where there was a lot of that was going on for certain games because the DRM for the disc checking was like screwed up and failing a lot too. So people were like, "Well, I'll run a cracked executable so I can actually run the game that I paid for." Well,
think
there's not a lot I can say against that. It's making the game you paid for work as long as you paid for.
Ubisoft had a god awful CD based DRM.
I think that's what I'm thinking.
Ubisoft
Of.
just
Yeah.
always has god awful DRM.
There was a code name for the system, but I remember they had a god awful DRM
It was some
involving the CD.
rootkit thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ooh, yeah. Yeah, that was a few years ago. I remember the rootkitting.
I remember it tracked the number of times you installed on your no. It collected data on your system, on your tower. You know, video card, CPU, that kind of thing. And if any of those changed, it would recognize
Yeah, if
that.
your hardware changed.
Yeah, if your hardware
be like,
changed.
this is a different computer.
You're a pirate.
Yeah.
It's like, I just wanted to upgrade my video card, man.
Yeah,
But-
it was not good.
Yeah,
I actually
remember
have
that
this problem though with like Morrowind because I have the ancient Game of the Year edition,
Oh god, so do I.
but I don't have it on Steam. And the Game of the Year edition has a CD thingy.
now. Oh.
I also have it with the Ultima series, which I just bought on GOG again because it's so cheap. But I'm not sure if I have Morrowind. No, I don't think I have it on Steam. Is that even on Steam? Is that a thing?
I'm not sure. I wouldn't be surprised if it was.
It is on Steam. Oh yeah, I remember there being a lot of issues on Steam as well with the DRM. Ah,
Not my
now my chair squeaks.
Only when you don't want it to.
Yeah, only one I don't want to do. Silrax has another question.
Oh? What's up?
A thing that is usually a bad topic but somehow interests me now as game devs. What are your guys' thoughts of emulating games on PC that are typically console exclusive if you already own them on the console?
Is it recent games or older games?
If they're console exclusives and you own them, then I think that's totally legit. There are no lost sales involved. There is no grey area. You own the thing, and you are doing with the thing what you want to do. And I think that's fine.
As long as there's not a PC version. Okay.
Yeah, if there's a PC version, then it stops being okay.
What do you think, James?
It's a bit of a weird one for me because I had a lot of questions about the legitimacy of emulation, and the usual answer you get is it's legal if you own the game. So out of curiosity, one day I did some digging and wanted some actual answers, and I couldn't find a whole lot, except from Nintendo specifically, where they very clearly outline how it is not legal to emulate any of their games, regardless of whether or not you own them.
But that's Nintendo.
That's Nintendo. And Nintendo is a little bit aggressive
Gung-ho.
on anything like that.
Very.
Nintendo
Always
is
a
a
good
little
word
bit
for it.
Nintendo.
Yes.
Yeah, they are a little bit Nintendo. But it did leave me wondering what the actual legitimacy of it is. So I myself just avoid it entirely whenever possible. I still have like a fully backwards compatible PS3, so I run old PS1, PS2 copies of games in that instead of finding any other way to run them. But I'm lucky in that I can run those. There are people who will do emulation for old SNES games and the like. A lot of stuff has made it to Virtual Console at least, which is good. Kind of sucks if you're buying the game for the second time, but it's typically pretty cheap when it's done virtually like that, and I would prefer to support that if possible. More things coming up in Virtual Console would be nice.
There's also problems with that though, because I'm going to the UK in like a little over a week, and we wanted to play Secret of Mana, which is available on the
your
Wii.
taste.
Yeah, thank you. Which is available on the Wii, whatever store, Virtual Store. I don't know
Yeah,
what
Virtual
it's
Store.
called. Yeah, and my friend has a Wii U, and you can
It's
do
not on that.
Wii stuff on a Wii U. You can run the Wii operating system in compatibility mode, and then you can buy stuff on the Wii Virtual Store, and it's not on the Wii U Virtual Store. But the problem is, if you run it from the Wii Virtual Store, then you need a Wii controller, like SNES controller, and not a Wii U SNES controller. And Wii SNES controllers are no longer being made and are really bloody expensive. So that's a bit dumb.
Damn, that is a bit of a problem. As I have a Wii and a Wii U, and I have Secret of Mana on my Wii on Virtual Console. I've never tried running it through the Wii U's running of the Wii operating system. I'm wondering if, because I have the Classic Pad Pro, I think they called it. I'm wondering if that would work with it at all, or...
Well, I've heard that the one for the Wii, the Classic Pad, is the only one that works with it, and the Wii U Classic Pad doesn't.
Yeah, because the last time I played it, I literally just plugged in GameCube controllers on the actual Wii, which of course you can't do on the Wii U. Huh.
Yeah.
I suppose actually on the topic of emulation, generally speaking, my whole thing is I don't care what other people do so much. You know, hedge on the side of the gray area that seems the most legal. You own it, whatever. I just typically don't do it myself, but there are some really weird minor exceptions. This month, for instance, I'm going to be running Fatal Frame 4, which has not been released in the US at all. It did require me to mod the firmware of my Wii, because in order to run it, I need to be able to run the English patch with it, which required modding of the firmware. I have an actual copy of the game, and it's running off the actual disc, but I shouldn't be able to.
Yeah.
That is about the weirdest gray area I think I've been in so far.
Wait, did you have to mod your Wii so that it would register as a Japanese version, or?
It's a Japanese-only game, so I have the actual Japanese region copy of the game.
Okay.
I had to mod the firmware in order for it to be able to load the English patch and run the game. And I'm pretty sure the Wii was region locked, so I think without it, I don't think it would run at all anyways.
Yeah, region locking circumventing is illegal, so...
I have to check in on that. I'm not sure if it runs.
I have a hypothetical situation for you. I really like Final Fantasy X. It's a guilty pleasure. Stop judging me
Not
right
judging.
now.
I'm not judging.
I can feel you judging silently.
I'm not judging. A little bit, maybe.
You old man. Anyway, I really like that game, but you can't really pry me away from my PC.
Mm-hmm.
I have the disc of Final Fantasy X, and I would prefer, if I played it again, which I actually do kind of want to do sometime soon, to play it at my PC. I can't plug in my PS2 to my monitors here, so that's not going to work. And I don't want to leave my computer, so I can't chat with people while I'm slogging through a Final Fantasy game. So is that bad if I emulate it on my computer, even though my PS2 and my game disc are right there? I mean, technically it's not really allowed, but I find it hard to feel guilty.
It is one of those weirder areas. You've paid for it, you've given them your money, there's no lost sale involved. But I think it comes down to that bizarre line where it's the question of, do you own the purchase you have made, or are you technically licensing the purchase you have made?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the licensing
I'm not either.
thing.
That's become such a debate with the rise of digital distribution. Like, do you actually own it, or are you just renting a license key?
Yeah, it's a really, really frustrating position because one side or the other basically puts all of the ownership power on one side or the other.
Yeah.
If it's licensed, you have no power whatsoever. If you own it, it's entirely yours.
This also came up with Rockstar and GTA 5 on PC.
Oh, what
That
happened?
they were supposedly, they say they haven't, and that they're totally cool with modding, but that they supposedly banned a couple of people for FOV mods and for using single player cheat save game editor thingies.
Yeah. They recently allowed modding for single player, but banned it from multiplayer.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
If you're banning people from multiplayer for an FOV mod, when you are basically not catering to people with certain physical disabilities, let's just call it what it is. If you actually literally legit get motion sick, that is, and you want to play that game and the FOV slider doesn't go high enough, Like one time, way back, I had Turok, Dinosaur Hunter.
Whoa. I remember that.
Terrible. I hated it. It was not one of my
Worth
favorite
playing
games.
just for the horrible ways things died.
Yeah, that was fun. I will admit that. But the infinite spawning enemies, just don't do mob boxes. Just don't do it. Anyway, my friend was over it and he played it. And after like an hour and a half, he got up and he went to the bathroom. And later he told me that he had thrown up because he gets motion sick. And like, if you have it that bad and you really want to play GTA 5 and then you find out the FFV slider that is in there only goes up to 80 and it's not enough. Like, I understand that it's difficult to detect if it's just an FOV mod, and I understand that FOV mods give you an ever so slight competitive advantage. But I still think like this is a failing of Rockstar if they're banning people for that.
Damn, I had not heard about that.
I think the intention was to ban any performance boosting mods, but since they were so general with it, it hit all of the beneficial mods as well.
Yeah.
Like, they were like, you can't change our game on multiplayer, period. You can do whatever the fuck you want with single player because, hey, that's single player, who cares? But multiplayer and balancing issues, they're like, no, you can't.
Is GTA 5 even that competitive of a multiplayer environment?
No.
I don't think
I
so.
mean, it's not Call of Duty. It's not Halo. It's not a game that's
Fighting
designed
games
with
or League of
competitive
Legends.
multiplayer in mind.
It's not Mortal Kombat, it's not League of Legends. It's you driving around a city, shooting up other people.
See, in that case, I'm not sure why anyone even really cares. I can understand, okay, you want to keep some degree of mod control because, well, at the same time, if there's no rank, actually, I guess that's the question. Do they have any sort of ranking?
I don't know, actually.
Beats me, I don't play games.
Because if not, I don't think mod control is your issue as much as just cheat control.
Yeah.
Apparently, FUD says yes. So,
But first he
Yes,
says
it's
no.
competitive. Like yes, or
So
sorry,
now
yes,
I'm
there's ranking.
confused.
Because that does throw a very different wrench into the works. If there is ranking, then yeah, you kind of have to monitor any possible competitive edge and level it out.
there is a sort of level system, but then if it's just a level system, like, you can't technically go down levels. Matt Spark says you rank up, which unlocks more things. So
Okay,
they do
so
have
it's just a
ranking.
basic GTA thingy where you
So level
upgrade
up.
your abilities.
So you level up and you get more stuff, and they probably just want to prevent you from leveling up too easily, I guess.
Alright. Maybe they should have gotten their shit in order.
Competitive multiplayer does bring a whole different set of rules to the table, and yeah, it is one of those things where sadly you have to keep the field as level as possible. But yeah, that does get in the way of things like FOV slider mods.
Well,
Of course,
like,
just have a naturally higher range of FOV slider in your game, and people wouldn't need to do that in the first place.
yeah, exactly. And if people are cheating at your game, then you're trusting the client too much. This is something I can rant about for hours because Korean and Asian MMOs, bless their little scantily clad souls, I like them sometimes. I hate
Yes.
them sometimes. But they are unilaterally shittily coded. Like, not even kidding. They all use like these anti-hack guards, like isn't that what it's called? Hack guard, game guard,
Game guard,
stuff
yes.
like shit like that, and so it infuriates me. It's like, okay, if you're making an online game and you don't want people to cheat, then anything you don't want people to cheat with should be kept completely under server, so the clients can't cheat.
Yeah.
And if you're retrofitting, if you're trusting the client, which you should never, ever, ever do, and then retrofitting something to fuck with the client's machine, then you're doing it wrong, and you deserve what you get.
Wow. I think this all. When did this all start off with? Like the Hack Guard, Game Guard. What was it? Maple Story?
No, way before that, dude.
Way before. Wow.
Yeah, they were like, it has to run in full screen. That's what I started. It has to run in full screen, and if you all tab out, the process self-destructs. It kills itself.
What? Jesus
Because if you're in
Christ.
full screen, you can't run cheat programs. They thought. Obviously, they thought wrong. And people were
Clearly.
like, but I want to play as in a fucking window. So then you got DXWND, which is DirectX windowed, which basically taps into the DirectX stuff to force stuff into a window, which sometimes works. And then they started to do like the whole Game Guard thing, and it just became an arms race. And I was always like, well, if you fucking programmed it right from the start, we wouldn't be having any of these issues. For fuck's sake.
Damn.
That's one of the wonderful things about single-player games, though. You have to ask yourself one simple question. Do I care if the player opts to completely and utterly destroy the balance of their game for their own amusement?
Yeah,
And the answer should probably be no.
Yeah, that is what I do with Mid-Boss. I even went so far as to specifically make the save game files plain text XML, so that people who wanted to hack the save game would have an easier time of it.
Yeah,
like-
if people are going to do it and it doesn't harm anyone else, you might as well support it.
And it's like, even with stuff like leaderboards, you can't really, like, if you're like Spelunky or something, anything that isn't completely played through online only, the leaderboards are gonna get fucked. And so you need to have a leaderboard system that compares you only to your friends. And then if one of your friends is cheating, you're gonna know. And you can shame them.
Cheat shaming.
Yeah. But like, otherwise, it's like, why would you even dictate the way the player can enjoy your game? What's the point of it? It's like, oh no, you're playing the game wrong. One thing that really bothered me about, like, you're not enjoying the game as I envisioned the game should be enjoyed, was City of Heroes, which is ironic because I think Zero's Skype profile is a City of
Yes, it
Heroes
is.
character.
It's a City of Heroes character
Oh,
that
yeah,
looks
it
like me.
is. Yeah,
Makes me
yeah.
so sad that it's gone.
I know.
Who was responsible for that again?
Oh.
The developer?
Yeah, the publisher.
Oh,
NCSoft?
Nexon. NCSoft, sorry, NCSoft, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, it
Fucking
sounds like
NCSoft.
NCSoft.
sorry. Literally worse than Hitler.
Wow.
Anyway, so Statesman, right? He was the lead designer on City of Heroes. Also called Jack Emmett, I think. Actually, it's Jack Emmett, also called Statesman, but, you know, whatever. He balanced the entire game around the idea that a superhero should only be able to take on 3 minions. And minions were fucking boring. So it's 3 minions, and a lieutenant counts for 2 minions, and a boss counts for 3 minions. So you should be able to take on 3 minions, or a minion and a lieutenant, or a boss. And obviously, people broke that because the system was just, you could just break it over your knee and do whatever you wanted with it. Even though Statesman also did another thing where he didn't want you to know any of the numbers under the hood, which was also a terrible, terrible mistake because there was no respecking for the longest time, but let's not go into that.
I played during non-respec days.
Yeah, me too. That was fun, spending like 5 hours in a hero planner before you could even roll up a character. Yeah, let's hide all the data from the player and then not allow them to make any mistakes in an MMO.
They're not going to live with the character for long, right?
Well, they didn't know. So eventually they made this system where you could set the difficulty of instant instanced missions. I can English. And you could set it up, and then you would get more minions of the same color, like white is equal to you, and then you could set it up further, and you'd get like 3 minions again, but they'd be yellow, which is +1 level, and then up and up and up and up and up. And people loved doing this, so they just had a bunch of much stronger, much bigger groups of mobs, because that makes you feel super when you take out 12 guys instead of just 3.
Yep.
Statesman didn't like that. He just hit the nerf stick everywhere. He's like, no, it's 3 fucking minions for 1 hero, and you're gonna play it my way. And the rest of the dev team was like, oh my god, would you please just just stop. And the players were like, oh my god, would you just let us have fun.
Go sit in the corner.
And then he left, and the game got massively better. And Jack Emmett made Champions Online, which was a horrible disaster.
I'm not gonna lie, I played that prior to their free-to-play. I actually really enjoyed certain elements of the game.
Yeah, certain elements, but it was
I think
very
the thing
fun.
I actually liked the most, the smartest design decision they made was frequently in City of Heroes, you'd wind up expending a bunch of power, and you'd come down to the point where all you could really do was just brawl until you had enough energy to do something.
Boring.
Whereas
Everyone
in Champions, your auto attack was always generating energy, so everything was always moving.
But it
I
had
love that
three
constant
minion
sense of
balance thing.
progression.
And that was what made it boring. And I actually got a lifetime membership to Champions Online. You know what else I got a lifetime membership for?
Uh-oh.
Lord of the Rings?
Hellgate London.
Oh my god, did that even last a month?
So yeah, I am famous for buying lifetime memberships to games that don't last.
Everything you touch dies.
Yes.
I won't even subscribe to an MMO for 3 months. Like, I will subscribe more than 3 months, but I will never subscribe for more than a month at a time because I know one day I'm going to wake up and be like, no, I'm done.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And I'll just move on.
Yep.
I played MMOs for 10 years. I can't stick with them anymore. And yet I want to buy a $290 imaginary spaceship for an MMO. Because I am clearly an idiot who doesn't learn.
So what you're saying is that if you're investing that heavily in Star Citizen, I should just ask for my refund now because they're going to be dead out of the gate anyway.
Yes, it's going to suck.
I'm going to get my money back.
Try to Avatar, it's doomed.
Congratulations, you're officially my forecast.
Yeah, she is the ultimate insider. It's like, which game are you interested in now? Oh, really? Sell all the stock. Sell everything.
Short the stock now.
So I need to make games I hate, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I also liked Tabula Rasa. I was very hyped for that.
Okay. I'm gonna jump in on that one.
Oh no.
I upgraded my entire. Well, I say upgraded. I replaced my entire computer to play that properly at launch. I had a group of people I worked with. We played the demo, but mine played super choppy. So when the game was actually coming out on launch, it's like, all right, replace the computer, new computer, I can run it properly. And then, we played it for about the month before we realized that we were all building the exact same character as far as skills went. And the thing that we all enjoyed the most in WoW when we played together was dungeons, because we loved challenge and coordinating as a group, and they just didn't have that. Like, well, yeah, let's stop now.
Hang on, I'm gonna pull up some footage of Tabula Rasa. Come on, work for me.
Yeah, Tabula Rasa was
Clean slate. Funny how that worked.
Decidedly mediocre MMO FPS.
It was the last thing that Garriott was involved in before splitting ties with NCSoft.
Yeah. He was like, fuck y'all, I'm going into space. Legit, that's
Certainly
what he did.
Yes, he did. He actually went to fucking space.
Yeah. He's like, my daddy's an astronaut.
I think he
I'm
actually
gonna go to
sold
space.
the castle he has here in Austin.
Oh,
Yeah, I think he sold it
Oh,
off
he's
a
been
while back.
selling. That is part of why I respect the man. He has been auctioning off like things that are really near and dear to his heart to fund Portalarium and Shroud of the Avatar.
You know, there was one really cool feature they had in that game that I don't think I've really encountered another one since, and that was that they had those kind of mini bases in certain places in the map that sometimes the AI would just launch massive attacks against, and they would be ships dropping things in, and they'd be trying to break down the gates, fight their way in, take control, and you had to
Yeah,
fight
yeah,
back.
yeah.
Or if it had been taken, breach the gates yourself and take it back. And those made for some great fights.
Isn't that what Guild Wars 2 has?
Never played Guild Wars 2.
Oh, well, it has like events in certain places where the area gets contested and then players have to do a quest to either defend it from attackers and then the NPCs can stay, or the area gets overrun with mobs and you can't use the waypoint there and you can't use the shops, and then you have to do a quest to clear out the mobs.
Huh.
It's not as cool as it sounds. Like the novelty wears off pretty quick, and then it's like, ugh, a waypoint is down again. I have to go kill these mobs. I have to walk there. Oh my god!
One other thing I think they did reasonably well in Tabula Rasa was the fact that they actually had their programmatic cover system. The fact that it just used ray tracing to determine whether or not you technically had cover between you and your target in order to
Yeah.
increase your defense accordingly.
It
So,
had
no actual-
some good ideas, but I feel
Yeah.
like NCSoft rushed it out the door.
It was in development a really long time.
Yeah,
Like,
they
there
started
were- it
over,
got yeah, I was gonna say I had
which is
a
funny
magazine,
given the name.
the early stuff. Yeah, it got clean slated a few times.
Yeah. I mean, on the one hand, like being able to just reboot a game like that is, I think, a sign that someone really has heart for that game. And it's a gutsy move, but you don't want to do it all the time because then you run out of money.
No, this is the same way you don't keep changing the engines. Otherwise, Dragon Age takes you 7 years to develop.
no.
Oh wait, sorry, did I say that?
Yeah, you
Is,
said
is
that out
that
loud.
Dragon Age 1, 2, or 3?
Dragon Age 1 was in development for 7 years.
Wow.
It went through.
How many
I
engines?
think it was prototyped in one engine, then
Mm-hmm.
it was being moved into another engine, and I believe that engine got replaced and ultimately went into a third engine.
Good God, all the
I
changes.
never
Conversely,
knew that.
Dragon Age 2 was in development for, I believe, 14 to 16 months. Explains a lot,
Compare-
doesn't it?
Compared to the 7 years, holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah, they got put in the position of, yeah, we'd like to see you do something a lot faster.
Too
Which is-
fast.
Yeah, it's why you wind up with a lot of the kind of programmatic repeat content.
Sometimes, though, you do just need to nuke it from orbit and drop a colony on it and start over.
Yep. If it's just not fun, there's no point in putting it out.
Funny story. So I made mid boss for Ludum Dare, and it was a ton of fun. And then people were like, "You should polish this up and sell it." And I was like, "Okay." And then the more I polished it, the less fun it became.
For you.
Oh,
Yeah, just the fun was just gone. I just couldn't add to it and make it like a real game instead of just a prototype and keep what was fun about it.
Oh.
And I tried, like, legit tried, like, 15 different things. And I was so frustrated with this game. Because I'm like, I know you're fun, but every time I try to make you into a real thing, you stop being fun. Why are you doing this to me? And I just stopped. I was just like, this is never gonna work. It's not fun. It's not doable. Too many design issues that I don't know how to solve. And I walked away and I mulled it over and I played different games and I got some ideas. And I was like, well, I can do this, but I have to just start completely over. Completely different approach. design everything around this possession thing. And this is why I'm not very afraid of mid-boss getting cloned and stuff. It's like, it feels very, I like to think it feels very intuitive. I don't know because I made it, so it all seems very intuitive to me. And easy to play because it's just the meta attributes and the possession and stuff. But the design that went into that to make that all work, it was a process and not an easy one.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that's what you got to do, and otherwise you just wind up with, I don't know, a game where you can fight at most 3 minions at the same time.
Well said.
Sometimes you need precision to polish, and sometimes too much precision will destroy your game.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's a brutal line to balance.
Too much polish and you end up corroding your game away.
Yeah, if you're too precise, you wind up with no variance in your game anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're too
It's
imprecise,
also,
it's sloppy and inconsistent.
it's also a problem with, like, it's easy to make a prototype, that's fun. But then if you start adding all the stuff that an actual game needs, sometimes that gets in the way of the fun that the prototype had.
Yeah.
And I think that's not something that's discussed often enough in the industry, where prototyping is like, yeah, find the fun in a prototype and then iterate. And like, yeah, but sometimes you iterate and it sucks. And then what do you do?
Yep.
Okay.
It is unfortunate. Every so often, you just have to pull the trigger, set up the dynamite, take it all out.
Start over.
Laura is saying that sometimes it can also just be really hard to track down what about a game makes it fun. She really loves Final Fantasy XIV, but she couldn't tell you why. And I can relate to this feeling because I played a lot of Guild Wars 2 because all my friends were also playing it, and the only reason we all stuck to it so long is because we were all playing it. And I've been playing Final Fantasy XIV, and I'm like, I don't know what makes this more enjoyable to me than Guild Wars 2. Like, the story is good, but it's not that much better. My fucking dishwasher just went. The story is good, but it's not that much better. And the mechanics aren't that much better, and the actual combat in Guild Wars 2 should be better. But I just prefer Final Fantasy XIV, I think.
I think 14 across the board, it actually did something that I think WoW originally did when it came out. And it's that it took a lot of things that worked, and then it polished them up and just made them more presentable.
I'll be right back.
I think that's what 14 accomplished as well. It took a lot of what already existed and just polished on it and made it all run nice and clean.
Instead of adding some new mechanic that may or may not hit.
Yeah, they didn't rely on any extra gimmicks, really. I mean, they took little things like... They took just the nature of MMOs, the nature of questing, and made it just work well. And then as far as their classes went, they basically did the same thing they did in Final Fantasy XI with being able to change your class at will, except now you could change your class at will, anywhere in the world, whenever you felt like it.
Yeah, I like that.
And that just reduces the number of ults you have, and it kept people dedicated to a single character.
Yeah, and it strengthens the bond that you have with that one character, I think. And we all know that emotional investment is the way to keep people playing.
Yeah, and to be fair, I think they had one of the better crafting systems because it was actually very interactive. I got some of my crafting classes to 50 before I never got a combat class to 50.
Wow. Okay.
I did get some crafters though.
Ow.
No, that's cool. Like, how separated from the actual combat is the crafting system? Because, in World of Warcraft, a lot of the stuff you have to do, it depends on your combat level. Like, oh, you can't learn this recipe until you're level 25. Or you can't get this particular ingredient until you're strong enough to either farm gold to buy it off of the market, or go there yourself and get it?
Aside from actually getting your hands on the ingredients, the crafting part was completely divorced from the combat side. Crafting classes had their own level. So you could be, at highest, say, a level 20 gladiator on the combat side of things, but be a level 50 goldsmith.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool.
And they had a fun system for crafting. You really had to think about how much durability you had on the item you were working with, how much quality you wanted to get out of it in order to get not just finish it, but to get a high quality version of it. It actually made you think and plot and plan, and your choice of skills suddenly actually mattered as a crafter. It's hands down, I think, the best crafting system I've generally come across. Still has the grind of advancing through crafting by making a ton of stuff.
You can't get around
given
that.
Everything.
Yeah.
Does Final Fantasy 14 have that problem where the raw materials are worth more than the actual end product?
I'm trying to recall. I'm not sure. I didn't spend a lot of my time selling the materials I made. I usually leveled by making items that were required for level quests. So I would make a bunch of a specific crafted item and then turn it in for more XP on my crafting class. So I never really typically sold. I did make use of a lot of the gear I made, though. Like the gear I made was definitely of high value, even compared to some of the dungeon stuff.
Maybe someone in chat knows if that was a thing, because that is definitely a problem in Guild Wars 2, where people actually use the crafting system to level up their characters, because you get a bit of experience for everything you do, including crafting. And you can get like 7 levels out of leveling cooking to 400, which is very cheap. So everyone does that. And the problem, I actually came up with a decent way that I am going to implement in my secret, not so secret.
I think you cut out, Eniko. Either that or I stopped hearing you.
Did the chat not hear my story?
No, I heard some. I think I heard most of it. You might have cut out for a little bit.
Yeah, but basically the problem is that it's like crafting something takes a lot less time than it does to gather the materials. Like gathering the materials is the time-consuming, tedious part, which is reverse from what it is well, not really reverse from what it is in real life, but reverse from what you want it to be, to have an economy where the end product is worth more than the raw materials. In Guild Wars 2, the raw materials are always worth more than the end product, because the end product is more specialized and thus less versatile. Except if you time gate it. If you time gate a crafting component, like you can only make one a day, suddenly the price of the crafting component becomes less than the end product.
Okay, on that note, we're approaching the end of the podcast, so let's open it up for some viewer questions and answers for myself, Eniko, or Zero. So, because, I mean, we could run for like X amount of hours, but I don't think...
My dishwasher disagrees.
So yeah, let's open it up for some viewer questions. Any other questions you guys would like, I'll just tweet out the stream, let people know that we're opening it up for questions so that they can interrogate the two of you.
Give us your questions.
Have we talked about the new GOG thingy?
What new GOG thing?
Ooh, yeah, Good Old Games is doing... Oh god, what was it? They were doing something... wasn't it something almost similar to Steam, in a way?
Let me take a look. GOG.com, alright. Non-DRM like Steam... Oh, that's right! GOG is instituting their own download client like the Steam client. Yeah.
Seems like a sensible thing for them to do.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's convenient. That's why people like Steam.
Yep. Try GOG Galaxy, fully optional client to That's the thing. It's fully optional. You don't need it. That's the good part.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. You can still download it straight from the website, or you can get the client to auto-download an update for you. Once downloaded, you can use it offline as well. Ah, okay.
Yeah, Good Old Games has always been good about not requiring DRM for anything you pick up from them. I don't think they have DRM on anything.
No, I don't think so. Unless it's a old game with built-in DRM questions.
The vast majority of games on Good Old Games have no DRM. Like, they make it a point to have no DRM at all.
On
not
top
even
of
their
that,
own.
they also make it a point to make everything compatible with newer operating systems.
That too. Yeah. GOG does a lot of good stuff. Like I want this GOG Galaxy thing to work well for them. It's really interesting. Opinion of games that require an internet connection. Ooh, that depends on what year you ask me.
Yeah.
If you asked me back in 2012, always online would have been persona non grata. Because Diablo 3 came out, and we saw how that happened. Error 37, all day, every day.
No, but like, it's part of the game. We can't do it without always online, except when we make the PS3 version, then we suddenly can. But we can't. we promise.
So, yes. If you asked me 3 years ago, I would have said, fuck always online. This is such bullshit. My answer's a bit more gray at the moment, because so many games have an online social aspect or online leaderboard aspect, that kind of thing. So, I don't know, it depends. So long as function of the game isn't broken when, say, like, for example, a server goes down. You know? I'm fine with always online so long as the online part just refers to me uploading my scores at the end of a match. That's fine. But if my single player game is dependent on having an online connection, no. That's bad. And you should feel bad. I'm looking at you, Blizzard. What about you, Eniko?
I have very little to add to that. And if you're going to do always online, like, there better be a goddamn reason, and your security better be goddamn good, and you better not be installing goddamn Game Guard. That's my opinion on that. Stop trusting the client. You can't trust. Everybody lies.
Trust no one.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of always online myself, just because, it's the age of cable internet. I'm always connected, except for all those times that suddenly I'm not connected. And I'd really like to do something, but I can't.
Yep.
Unless there is a really, really good reason. You know, an MMO. Okay, it's going to be hard to argue with offline mode in an MMO. It doesn't exactly work for anything.
It'd have to be split screen. Or
Yeah,
LAN.
something really weird. But any other type of game, it's not entirely dissimilar from the way that something like PS4 handles trophies. You know, I'm playing the game offline, I get trophies. Okay, whatever. It doesn't care. It marks that I've got the trophies, and the next time I connect to the internet, it will then upload all that information. Unless there's an incredibly core and integral reason to why I have to be online to play your game. And please don't tell me it's cheat prevention, because fuck you. Just fuck your face for that. That is not a valid reason. If I want to play my game in single-player mode, cheat prevention is meaningless to me.
Yeah.
Personally, I'm not going to cheat
even with
anyways.
leaderboards.
Yeah, if it's a leaderboard, it can always upload stuff later. But, yeah, I see the value from a DRM perspective, but that is the only value I see it from. And granted, okay, I understand. I am all for developers getting their cut of the pie that they made and then sold to you. I understand that. But at the same time, as a player, I really, really generally despise always connection required.
Yep. Not just for the conscious stuff, but for the like, suddenly drop connection, and the save didn't work. Like, it's not the intentional stuff that's all bad. It's the unintentional stuff that you don't foresee.
Yep, the moment your internet hiccups and it decides, well, technically you're not connected, so we're going to boot you back to menu.
And
Boom.
then you're dead.
What? But the thing I was doing what have you done?
Then your
When-
hardcore character dies.
Yep. Or like,
And you cry and cry and cry.
I think there was multiple documentation on that happening the first 6 months of Diablo 3. People rolling level 60, max level hardcore, their server hiccups and they get stuck in a magma pool or a desecrator. And they die. And they log back in, dead.
Yep.
I mean, hell, people, I think it's happened live on stream as well.
Wow. I can imagine the highlighted salt of that.
Yeah. It's like gone. Hardcore, max level, best armor in the game, and you died because your router had a hiccup or had a short.
Yeah, that's not cool.
Mm-hmm.
Shall we get to Techno Dude's question?
Yes.
Seems like a very good one. He
What's
says, I find it sad that every game I come up with feels like a clone of something I've never made it past the concept stage of the game creation process because of this. How do you get past this? So,
My first
I think
thought,
everything is basically a clone. You just
In-
have
in a
to
nutshell.
find like your own twist to it.
It's very much a question of, are you a 100% clone or are you iterative? Are you building on a former idea?
there was something a writer once said to me about tropes that I think holds really, really true for game development as well. I said, it's not that you can't use tropes. It's not that you're using tropes that's even an issue. The question is, how are you using the tropes? Because an old trope presented in a new and interesting way no longer matters that it's a trope.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I think it goes the same way for clones. There are certain frameworks to a game that make it essentially a clone of another game. If any given genre, you can point at one game that's kind of the root of said genre, everything's going to wind up looking like a clone within that genre as long as it still adheres to that framework. A great example, honestly, is Monster Hunter. You play any other game where you take missions to go out and hunt large things that you then kill, skin, and wear like hats, congratulations, it's fundamentally a Monster Hunter clone. However, we've got Monster Hunter, and then we've got something like Tokiden. It's a Monster Hunter clone, but they approached so much of it so differently outside of the fact that you do take a mission, kill a big creature, skin it, wear like a hat. But everything else about it handles very differently. So, yeah, it's a Monster Hunter clone, but there's absolutely nothing wrong with that because it is still very clearly its own game. So the question becomes, what is it that defines your game versus the original, versus the predecessor? Where is your game different?
Yeah,
Cloning the
what's
framework?
twist?
I don't see an issue necessarily with cloning the framework. We have 1,000,001 Diablo clones out there.
Mm-hmm. Damn
To be
right.
fair, most of them make me just want to go play Diablo 2. Oh god, every time I play Titan Quest, I'm like, this is really cool, and then a couple hours later, I'm like, I'm going to go play Diablo 2.
Diablo 2
Can't
is
help
still
it.
the best.
Yeah, it's ugly as sin, and it's still so damn good.
Yep. I can answer this
play it offline.
question with explaining mid-boss, because everything in my life revolves around mid-boss.
It's your baby.
Yeah. I sound so happy about it too, don't I? Sometimes you get a bit tired of your baby keeping you up at night. Okay, so mid-boss, it's a roguelike, so it's a turn-based roguelike, and I took that kind of from Zangband, which took it from Rogue. The attribute system, the meta attributes I took that from Guild Wars 2. The way that forms were kind of like jobs, I took that from Final Fantasy V. The art style I kind of took from Disgaea. So basically, there is nothing original about my game, but it's still original.
Yeah, there's nothing original except for the cobbling of
it's
the
like
parts.
I put all this shit together and somehow it kind of works.
You made your own Frankenstein.
Yeah.
No one else could have done that.
Like, being truly original, it's not gonna happen.
Look at it like mixing drinks. So many drinks use the same base alcohols, the same base ingredients, but the way you mix it, totally different drink.
Indeed. Yep. He's got a point. The ratios, everything. So, yeah, you made your own Frankenstein, and it's yours.
Exactly. It is your Frankenstein.
Yes.
And of course, something I would say would come down to drinking.
And also, if you're new at making games, you might have to still polish your skills, and then copying is a very good way of learning.
It really, really is. Because copying the style of a game that you like will force you to ask questions that you didn't necessarily think of.
Yeah,
okay,
like
they
how-
do this thing. How do I do it?
Like the camera work in Super Mario World. It's very complex, but you don't notice it as a player because if a game game designer does their job right, the programmer, you won't notice it.
Exactly. Programming, you notice when it screws up.
So yeah, clone stuff. It's good for you. It's not a problem.
All right. Any other questions before we wrap up and do the normal shameless shilling? Give me ideas.
I'm gonna need to edit my channel command because I'm now a pretend YouTuber.
Okay. Any further questions from anyone out in chat? Any last comments or words of advice for any game developers who are looking for some ideas or help at all from you two?
I definitely have certain base advice I always give. For the love of God, please do not make your first game effort an RPG or an MMO. Seriously, you'd be better off jumping off a cliff. Just do not start with those. They are huge. They are insanely complex. More goes on under the hood than you would ever imagine. Bad, terrible place to start.
But
Yeah, some people tackle it anyways.
You know what? I think James was
he's
James was
right.
owed this from all the ragging you've done on him throughout this entire podcast. He deserves this jab. He earned this jab.
yeah,
But then you also know from experience, it is insanely more complicated
it is.
than you'd ever think,
It is
right?
just fucking stupid. Don't do it. But if you
Maybe
want to
Kevin.
do it, then do it and learn a lot and never finish anything for 15 years, like me. And then be
And
really
there's
good at code.
And that's where the other bit of advice comes in. Find something small and finish it. You will learn so much more finishing one small thing than you ever will learn starting and dropping 10 magnum opus.
I will totally back that up. Yep. Like, I am not even kidding. I am 32 in a few days. I started coding seriously when I was 15, 16 years old. It wasn't until 2012 that I made mid-boss for Ludum Dare that when I finished something that was fun, and when I realized I could make games and I could finish games and people would enjoy the games for the game's sake and not because they're humoring me, that I really got serious about this whole game development thing. So yeah, for the love of God, finish something.
It's an amazing feeling finishing something, and it is a lot tougher than it seems. There's always that point where it's like, yeah, this is kind of good enough until you actually think about putting it out there. Like, you know what? It's not quite good enough. This needs to be proper, finished, polished, solid, and bulletproofed.
Mm-hmm. All right. Zilrex asked a question to you and me, Eniko. What are our thoughts about instant death mechanics in video games?
They're bullshit. Fucking bullshit. If you put in an instant death mechanic, you are a fucking horrible human being. Seriously. I actually put in a damage potion in mid-boss, which has potion discoverability. So every new game you have to use a potion once before you know what it does. And I made it so this is a spoiler and it's going to ruin the game for some people. If you're at full health, any time in the game, if you're at full health and you use the damage potion, it will not kill you. Because you will have too much health.
But if you're not at full
then
health...
you're dead. But if you're not in the imp form, then you're still going to be okay, because you just revert to imp form. So it's not nearly as bullshit as just like you couldn't have anticipated this, you were just instantly dead stuff. Oh, I hate that so much.
My favorite mechanic in the world is instant death that relies on a die roll. Said nobody ever.
In my honest opinion, I think instant death is a great way to piss off your fan base, one, and two, to unnecessarily elongate your game. Like,
it just isn't respectful of the player's time.
Yeah. Instant death mechanics are very... I feel like, okay, sure, developers put them in as a aha, got you moment, but it's completely unearned, because you don't put the player through anything other than, ha, you made the wrong turn, or ha, you know.
It's like getting up in someone's face and being like, ha ha ha, I am such a dick. Are you having fun? Fuck you, I'm not having fun.
Oh my god, rage quit games that are built around instant death mechanics are very...
Oh, the one-hit KO games?
I don't like them at all. They are for people who like to get angry. They are like...
They're beauty bait.
No,
they're salt generators.
They're salt generators. Not necessarily beauty bait, but they're definitely salt generators.
Do people actually play those, off YouTube?
Yes.
I've seen a lot of streams of I Want to Be the Boshi.
Yeah, but stream is still,
look.
for someone's entertainment. Does anyone play it for themselves?
I have no idea.
Outside of speedrunners who do it for the sake of the stream? No, I've never heard of anyone.
Yeah, exactly. So it's beauty bait.
Basically you're playing the game for work. It's work. Let's be honest. Rage quit games like I Want to Be the Boshi or I Want to Be the Guy, they're rage quit. They're just like, you do it for work. You do it because people like to watch you suffer.
There is something I do appreciate about them, though. The level of precision required on the part of the player, watching someone actually complete any of that, is pretty damn impressive because of the amount of precision required. And to a certain degree, I kind of have grudging respect for the level designers because they were able to set up that degree of precision platforming in the level in the first place.
That is true.
Yeah.
I still hate
they
them,
didn't just slap something together.
Yep. Thankful it's not random.
Yeah.
The deaths are not random. They're premeditated.
Those games are the real murder simulators.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, they still rely on a lot of dick design, to be fair, but...
No, I completely agree. The random ass shit. Speedruns are so... Yeah. But then those are the guys who are put in hours and days into that game and died thousands and thousands of times.
Yeah, but compared to any speedrunning any other game, like a speedrunner I follow plays Mega Man X, and like you can just get fucked by the RNG even in the first level. Like there's double Bs and there's task cars that shoot you into the pit and all that stuff. Like speedrunning is just pain in general.
Yeah, the only game I ever speedrun is Resident Evil HD Remaster, and there are a couple of key points where it's like it comes down to the RNG. If Plant 42 does a very specific thing, it'll break the speed run, or if the dog with the whistle comes in a certain way, just certain things it does, it'll affect my time. If it jumps on me, it's the best thing in the world because I have a knife ready for it that I can use to put it down immediately and get out. If it doesn't, I've got to shoot at it. It's going to grab my arm. That's going to take time, and it's going to add a minute or two onto my time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and stuff like I want to be the guy. At least you have control over it. So in a way, it's better to speedrun that than something that has more RNG. Speedrunning is a weird thing.
It's a strange culture.
Yeah.
RNG, we no longer talk about RNGesus in my stream. Because of XCOM, we only know of RNG Elzebub. that came around because of XCOM, and the number of times like 90% chance, clutch shot. You
dead.
Missed.
You missed. Fuck. You died. There is no Jesus here.
Yeah. We only know RNG Elzebub.
Wow. Holy shit.
Still did it. Classic difficulty Iron Man mode on Evil Within, or Enemy Within.
Christ, dude. I couldn't get like 5 missions into that without just throwing everything.
We restarted a few times. The last one was like, it was the one that we're like, nope, this is it. And there were so many times we're like, we're screwed, we're done. We've got like one person left alive and a bunch of FNGs. We're done for. And then somehow it pulled it out. And that one guy from the original squad lived through the whole fucking game.
Wow!
He lived through the whole game. He eventually became a mech, and he pretty much carried the goddamn game.
He's like the grizzled veteran that watched everyone he loved dies.
Oh yeah.
He's like, I've seen some shit. Now they put me in a mech suit.
Yeah. Yep. he was Beard's Big Mech McGinnis.
Wow!
And he just carried the friggin' game.
The tone of your voice is just so like,
It's so love-hate. I really, really enjoyed it, but RNG in that game is about the worst RNG I've ever encountered because there's so many hidden adjustments under the hood.
Mm-hmm.
Not too many games you can get a 100% hit chance that actually misses.
Okay, with that, I think we will call it there. Thank you very much, CareLevelZero and Eniko for coming on the podcast again.
I just lost my audio.
Of course, who else will call things literally worse than Hitler if I don't?
But yes, thanks for coming on the podcast. Feel free to drop all of your links and any links from CareLevelZero, Eniko, or I can translate into clickable links. For those of you,
let me find links.
All the links. Drop links to like Iocaine. Drop links to your personal stuff, your Patreon. Eniko, you too.
Yeah, I'm just getting set up here.
Oh, Christ.
Just gonna be a flood of links.
Yeah.
Flood all the links. All of my links are here. Check out my Twitters. Let's see. That one. Well, maybe not this one. That one was my hitbox. But, yeah. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming. And thank you very much, everyone watching this on YouTube. YouTube viewers, be sure to check down in the description for all of the links to everyone on the podcast. Be sure to check out CareLevelZero's Patreon and his Twitch channel.
I'm ready now.
Okay, do the thing.
Okay, twitter.com/anychan, youtube.com/user/sharkhugsenico, midboss.net, eniko.io/UHD, kitsunegames.com. That's where you can find all my shit.
All right.
Please subscribe to my YouTube.
All right, there's my list. Oh, good God. Twitch.tv/CareLevelZero, Patreon.com/CareLevelZero. There is a link in there for Steam Bandits Outpost on Steam, and there is also a link to my book on developing 2D games in Unity.
Eniko, HTTP.
For the love of...
No, she has to type it out. My stuff is much more simple. YouTube.com/SuperVin47 and Twitter.com/SuperVin47.
Yeah, lucky you getting your actual name on friggin' Twitter.
Yup.
Yeah.
Come on over, Annie.
I tried.
Damn, guys.
I was denied.
Oh yeah, that's right. Both of you two weren't able to get your original names on Twitter.
Yeah, Anico is an inactive goddamn account too.
Yeah, so's mine.
Yeah, you
CareLevelZero
can't
is
get
an
it.
unused account. It's rotting off in a field somewhere.
Yeah.
It exists solely to spite me.
Oh no! Now everyone's like, "Hey, I got mine on Twitter. What's your problem?" Laura Graymerk.
Hey, I got Shark Hugs Enico. My YouTube and Twitch and Hitbox branding is all consistent. It's all Shark Hugs Enico. So if you want to follow me on Twitch and Hitbox, that's also Shark Hugs Enico. I have a Twitter account, Shark Hugs Enico, and it tweets out my videos.
Okay. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming, and good night.
Thank you very much for
Good
having me
night,
on.
everyone.
Have a great night, everyone.
Bye.